All right. Okay. So I think we are live now. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. So today we're going to talk about Raging Waters. Raging Water being Tolu Ekwe's freshly printed, published book. I've got Pravika, a poet and an artist from India, and Tolu is from Nigeria. So I am from England. Living in England now, and it's an international effort, guys, to learn and to teach. So today we're going to talk about how to make a music video for a book. So first we created um, a music track for the book, and now we're trying to create some sort of music video for it. So because what we do is we advertise books, YouTube channels, podcasts. That's what we do basically. So what I wanted to do first is let's go through the introductions first. Once the introductions out of the way, then we will show you what we're going to do. Tolu, please go ahead. Introduce yourself and tell us what you got for us today.
Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be here again. Thank you so much, Cyrus. Thank you for inviting me here. And thank you so much for everything that has been going on around this book, the buzz around this amazing book. So here's what I want to tell everybody. First of all, just start. You know, that idea that has been in your mind that you've been thinking about doing, that plan you had, just start. You just never know where it will go. I'm like, in the past few weeks, just how much noise has been, around this book, just how much attention, how many people have read it, how many reviews. And then we even have music, guys, a song about the book. Amazing. And there's just so much that has happened. I'm just so just blown away. I just want to say that idea, don't let it die. Do something. Do something about it. So thank you
Oh,
so
that's.
much. Back to you, Clarence.
I think Tolu. I think you've written a good book, and you and Kingsley, your husband and co-author, you
Yeah.
both deserve all the help you're getting from whisperboy.com. And by the way, this is just the beginning. Okay, this is just the beginning. So we're now going to Pravika. Pravika, please go ahead, introduce yourself, and please tell us what is it that you do, and what is it that you want to achieve in the near future as well. You may unmute yourself now. Please go ahead.
Yes. Hello. And to the author and the co-author, thank you. I think this book is important. And when I heard the song, when I just saw the image, not of the woman with the, with that, but the book cover, I think that would be the book cover. Oh, I feel like I wish my father could have had this book. It's very, very, yes, that's the one, yes. It is. I want to share something with you. They say that when there are two type of people. Okay, there's one person when you hear a church bell or a temple bell or something, from these places, and you hear it from far away, right? You're in your home or in your office. So there are two types of reactions to a church bell or even a mosque prayer call, whatever it is. The two reactions are either you feel like God is on your side and you feel like, okay, cool, I just gotta go with it. And then there is this other group of people who've been up to some mischief. Yes. And these sounds get them to back off. It reminds them of all the tiny mistakes they are making, even if it's tiny. So I will promise you, if you go into your LinkedIn statistics or any view statistics, there will be a lot of views, but very few reactions. What I have noticed is they might not react, they might not comment. However, the views, it has reached those people, and it has that butterfly effect and the trickle down effect. So, one thing, okay, that's one. Yes. So, this song, and even just the cover of the book is going to scare a lot of people from even picking it up. So, they are going to be your second round of people who are going to pick it up. So, how do I know this? Now I will get to what I was doing and what I want to do. I was in an audio event 2 days ago where Cyrus and a lot of others, they urged me, and I'm here today. If you look back a week on my social media, I was a completely different person, ma'am. And I think, the song is there because of you. Cyrus made this because you did this. And if it weren't for the song, I wouldn't be here right now. I would be in
Oh,
another place.
I think
Sweat.
Tolu started the
Alive.
movement.
But
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
Tolu started the movement. Absolutely.
yes. So
okay.
I'm I'm a daughter of a very Indian cultural mother and a father who was heavily influenced by Western society. He had a British accent because he picked up English listening to the BBC.
Mhm.
So I've grown up with both the East and the West. And okay, that's just my background. Professionally, I have been in public relations. I used to be a publicist for these MNCs and big companies. And the artist part of me did not go well with them. They're just looking at the numbers. They want the views. They want the likes. They don't care about the views. They don't have the patience to wait, 3 months or 6 months to let it gather steam. Yes. So please don't mind. I'm bringing this up. February, as we know, is Black History Month. Yes. And I promise you, ma'am, people are not going to buy your book till March or February because it's not that they
We
don't
have a lot
want to
of
support.
yeah, that's
Yes,
fine. So we have a lot of work to do and a lot of preparation. So and Tolu, if you want to set a target for February, March, April, in my view, in this day and age, it's not local anymore. When it is not, it is a culture of contemplation and um, um, what word am I looking for? When it's about chilling and contemplating in one part of the world, in one culture. On the other side, the whole world is experiencing different seasons, different mentally and geographically. So, so when you're online, you cannot afford to think locally. You've got to think globally. You are local, but you think globally. So that's thinking globally, right? So you gotta be active locally, and you're gonna be thinking globally. So locally. Now, I understand the point you're trying to make, Pravika, but I suppose that the point you're trying to make is majority of the sales are going to happen in that month of March, or maybe Tolu's going to notice a sharp
yes.
spike in the statistics that she's going to have. But that is quite promising. Thank you so much for that, Pravika. Now, regarding what we're going to do now, I have I found it appropriate to create a remix for the song. Let's first have a listen to the song itself, right? And after that, we're gonna so that was video one. Yes, we have that. Let's open this one. You can hear this, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Let's do that.
When it feels like
Guys, please put your microphones on mute so our listeners and viewers can enjoy the music a little bit better. Thank you.
it's too late to when it feels like it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic. The sinking ship is your relationship, like you're the captain of the Titanic. When hurt, fear, and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal. When you can no longer fix it, and when the struggle feels too real. Gift raging waters to your sons. Give this book to your daughters. Teach them to save their marriage in life's bad times and the raging waters. Help them navigate when the current is strong. Guide them back when it all feels wrong. Before hearts sink and their ship lost the ground, let the raging waters bring love back around. Let the raging waters bring love back around. When raging waters bring love back around.
So, how do you feel, guys, about the lyrics that you heard? I'm gonna start with Tolu. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I love the lyrics. I don't know. I shared with you earlier, the part where once you got to Titanic, the first time I heard the song, of course, I had no prior knowledge that what I was about to listen to was about the book. So I'm just listening, and we get to Titanic, and my mind just goes back to the movie because I had watched the movie a few times and cried each time. And it was just a very moving movie. But anyway, the emotions around that, and then going forward to now, it's like you're describing like a hopeless situation, right? It's like a sense of helplessness, and then it's like, do something about it. Gift raging waters to your sons and daughters. I'm like, ooh, oh my gosh. So it was just amazing, the lyrics. I think I prefer the first one though to this one, because I feel like there's a lot of the is it the echo
It's
thing?
still the same. It's still the same. We haven't changed anything yet.
Really?
So that's still the same one. Yeah. So on the second one,
Maybe I didn't hear as much. Okay.
maybe you were in a different mindset when you listened to it. Nothing's changed since the first time. But
Okay.
the second one, for the second one, I'm gonna play that in a few moments. The second one, I'm not done. This is still raw. I haven't done anything about it yet. I've just
Okay.
created that yet. But I'm gonna
I'm
ask.
hearing the echo a bit more. I think the doubling of the sounds. I'm hearing it more now than I did before. So I think.
There was an echo even at my end.
Right.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure how, how that happened. That
Okay.
could have been because we're sharing the screen. That potentially that could be that one.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to my friends on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. We are promoting a book, and we are learning how to create what to include in the music video. So Crystal is here. She's sending hugs. Thank you so much, Crystal. And she's also turned into creative music recently, and she's a very successful writer, and she's a very good friend of ours. So yeah, in terms of the feeling that the music is going to give you, I'm really glad you connected with the music like that, and that tells me, in terms of promoting the book, the music's gonna do its job. So that is a promotional tool. The music is the language that connects me, you, and Pravika and many other people. And also, I believe. And by the way, Crystal is saying she's using Audacity to record her vocals. That is fantastic. Audacity is something I know how to work with, but that's not something that I normally use. What I use normally is Adobe Audition, and Adobe Audition is the tool, is the weapon of my choice. So anyway, so the music needs to not just communicate, but connect, because what's the point of communication if connection doesn't happen, right? The purpose of communication is connection. And it's like half the story. Communication is half the story. The other half is connecting, which is the more important part, right? So now it's like you're extremely thirsty and I bring you water and you end up not drinking it and you're still suffering with thirst, right? So I haven't done my job right, you haven't done your job right, and then we're both suffering. I'm suffering because I'm watching you suffer, and you're suffering doubly because you're not drinking the water. So communication and connection is like giving someone water and actually that person drinks it, right, when they are thirsty. So right now, because the book has just been published, if the music that is promoting the book, first of all, if the book doesn't have music, the book is leaving money on the table. That means it's not reaching its potentials, right? Music is a vehicle that gets you to your targets much faster and more effectively. So if I tell you guys, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hand. There you go. You didn't think, you just. So I clicked, and the program in your head. That's what Robert Cialdini says in his book. In his books, actually, he uses the phrase "click and run," click and run. So it's like a program in the background. You just click, and it automatically gets run in your head, in the customer's head, in the viewer's head. So I just used that good old-fashioned tactic, and I said, "If you're happy and you know it," and you just went clap. So that's the purpose of the music we've created for the book. Because many people haven't read the book yet, but almost everyone's listened to the music, right? Almost everyone who's on my page, on your page, and Pravika hasn't purchased the book yet, but she knows about it, and she knows about the track. Now, thank you so much, Tolu. Now I'm going to go to Pravika, and Pravika, you listened to the music, and how did that make you feel about the book? What was the effect of the music on yourself, please?
Okay, yes. So the music hit home. The music hit home. In fact, it's more like, everyone's publishing a book these days. Yes, ma'am. Almost everyone has something to say. They have opinions. And there are people who just buy it because someone bought it and it's popular here. It's Amazon's bestseller. Someone said something. What happened is, for me, I didn't know it was a soundtrack for a book. Yes, I didn't know about the book when I heard it. However, when I got to know in the conversation that it is a soundtrack for a book, oh, not just do I want to pick up the book, I wish I had a time machine to go back and give it to my parents. I mean, you know, I feel the need. This could be a personal point of view, might not be your entire audience. I felt the need. I know so many people who need this book,
Click
but they
and
just
run.
don't know about it.
Click and run. So can you see how many programs in the back of your head are just activated? Without that,
Um,
Tolu wouldn't have been able to connect with you mentally. Okay, so she's the author,
yes,
right? Now you feel some sort of connection between you two, right? You're from India, she's from Nigeria. You've never met, right? Now you've met. Now there is something in the background that is happening, and is connecting you two. Not the book. You haven't read the book yet. You know about the book. Now, what connected you two was the music track. So we are teaching the
absolutely.
importance. Yeah, we are here. We're teaching and sharing the importance of sticking out in the crowd, right? Because when people go to the market, they put their wallets in their pockets and they go to the market. They don't go to buy a book. They go to buy the feeling that the solution gives them. If they are on the verge of taking a divorce, what do they need? They need something that pushes them to finalize that divorce, or something to pull them back around and bring love back around, right? That's where Tolu comes in. So what gives Tolu that edge? It's that music. Okay, I think it's a Japanese saying that goes. I hope I can get it right. Here it goes. So I want you to imagine a carpenter. Okay, now I want you to imagine he is fixing a table, fixing an old table, and he has put some nails in there. He's just fixing it, and some of the nails are in, some of the nails are out, and these nails, the ones that are out, the ones that aren't fully in, right? Some of them are further out; they're sticking out further. Some of them are fully in, some of them are half length, right? Now, this is human mentality, right? When a carpenter gets the hammer out, the nails that are sticking out the furthest get the hammer first.
Yes.
So you want to be sticking out the furthest, then people will pay attention to you. So have you noticed if you're hammering some nails, the one that is sticking out the further, you take care of that one first, right? Because it's human mentality. You feel like that needs your attention first because it's different to the rest of the nails. The nails all look the same. The only thing that makes them different to you in your head is the length at which they are sticking out or in. Now, Natalie, please don't worry. I understand your tech issues. She says, sorry, I'm late. No, Natalie, you are a legend, and you're always welcome in our show, and you're an important part of our community. So I've known Natalie for a while, and she's very important to our lives. Now, so if Pravika was to buy a book like Tolu's book, she would go to the market, not for Tolu, not for the book. She would go to the market with the feeling that book gives her, right? So the feeling that the book gives her is some sort of, I'm feeling good, the problem is solved. Okay, why do we buy the books? We buy books because we want some sort of problem solved for us, right? So imagine I was on the verge of taking a divorce, or if my relationship was completely broken down and stuff, right? So my imaginary wife has left the house, or I have left the house, and she's on her own, I'm on my own, and the children are I don't know, 3 days with me, 3 days with her, and they spend 1 day with their grandparents, etc., etc. So the relationship is completely broken down, right? Like your country's economy. I didn't say that. So okay, so when I say a country's economy, I'm talking about the fact that all of our country's economies are broken down. And if you don't believe me, just watch the news videos and everything from during COVID days, right? That tells you how broken everything is. Situations like COVID didn't break us down, didn't break our systems down. It showed us how fragile and how potentially broken down they are. Right. Anyway, so relationship is broken down, and I'll go to Amazon and I want to buy a book. Okay. I first go to YouTube and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. That book is about divorce. Oh, this book is about divorce. Oh, that book is about divorce. Oh, hang on a minute. There is 516 books about divorce. At least. Right. Every single one of those authors, those 516 authors, believe that they are the worthiest. I am worthy by my book. Even if they don't say it, in their head, because nobody writes a book to hide it. I mean, some people do. Nobody. Now, what? Trust me, there are as many people as you can imagine. What do you think, Tolu?
Absolutely. I know there's so many people who have talked to me about writing a book, about wanting to write a book, about a book they started, about a book that people would love, but they've done nothing about it. Nothing. And so the difference, I mean, for every one book that's out there, there are so many that are intended, that are in people's heads, in their notebook somewhere, half written on their computers, being tweaked over and over again to get it just right, because it's not yet just right, and it hasn't been right for the past 10 years. You know, so
have you heard about this guy who wanted to write the book and eventually didn't publish it? Have you heard about him?
Nobody hears about
No,
it.
no, don't worry. Nobody, neither has anybody else.
Nobody hears about it.
He didn't give us a reason to hear about him.
I didn't see that joke coming. Cyrus is so funny.
Oh, well, my mom and my sisters don't think that, but anyway. Now, back to that point. You written the book. You're a whole different category, Tola. You've written the book, you've published it, and the book is on Amazon already. And ladies and gentlemen who just joined us, please remember, Raging Waters is available on Amazon. I am able to say that because she published it. Don't be that guy who wrote a book but never published it. Right? Give people a reason to follow you, to chase you, be proud of you, and try to know you. Try to get to know you. So, with regards to the example I was sharing with you guys, now I said 516 books as an example, right? It's just imaginary example, right? So now I see that this girl's book has a song written about it, and there are a lot of blogs about it as well. Blogs, that's very important. If you're not writing one blog and asking your friends to share it, you're just wasting your time and resources. Now, from now on, I'll tell you, I want you to write one article about your book per week, at least, right? And ask your friends to share it. Can you please share that on your screen? Yeah, can you please share that for me? And I'm sure if you send that to Pravika, she will publish it for you. She's a publicist at heart and by trade, right? So when I see there are blogs about that book, I get to know that book, right? And that incentivizes me to buy the book, right? And there is this thing that people do before they make a purchase. They don't want to experience post-purchase blues. That's what I call it, right? Post-purchase blues. So that means they feel like they're out of pocket for the wrong reasons. They feel like they are at loss, and they feel like they've lost their money, right? So that's why they compare. That's why we compare. That's why we look at the reviews. That's why we do this. We do that just to make sure we don't purchase something that is proven to be garbage later on. Okay, we don't want that. So we want to make the best decision. Everybody, as a species, we hate to make wrong decisions, and we hate to be wrong. We want to be right, and we also always want to be told that we are right. That's what we want. Why is it that we don't want the relationship to be broken down? One of the reasons we don't want the relationship to be broken down is that later on in life, we don't want that to get added to the list of the things we've lost. And later on, we're going to be regretful, aren't we, if we lose that relationship? Well, it could be either or. It could go either way. Could be right, could be wrong. But you're not going to take that risk, are you? You want to be right. So you want to go back and be with a person that was once Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. Okay. Now you want to reverse the damages that life has caused, between that rift that is caused between you and your husband, and you and your wife. And that's where the book comes in. If between me and my relationship getting repaired, there's a book, I'm going to buy that book. And Tolu Ekwe's book is that book. That's how much I believe in it. Well, I wrote a song about it, didn't I? So I'm not sure how else I'm supposed to prove that. Pravika, go ahead.
Yes, that is the thing, Tolu ma'am. The fact that there is someone who's read your book, yes, and he's represented it like this. Yes. Now, if I had to represent, like once I read your book, I will get a more, a better picture of it. And after reading your book, when I go back, I already know how to dance to the song. Yes. I mean, I'm already feeling the moves. And once I read the book, I'm going to feel the moves even more strongly. So, what I'm trying to say is the way for him, it was through music he got it out to spread it to the world. Yes, maybe someone's going to talk about it. That's going to be me. Maybe someone will write about it. Maybe someone decides this is a Christmas gift or a birthday gift for someone, for their kids or their grandkids. So each person is going to have a different response to this. And there could be some who would buy the book and it helps them, but they're not the people who go out and say, hey, look what this did for me. They're going to be those guys too. So, yeah, I think also considering the fact that I myself am an artist, I like music, I like dance. I don't want to say I'm an expert, but I have a good sense of understanding of music.
I'm an expert in dancing. I'm an expert. Sorry for interrupting. I'm an expert in dancing. After a few drinks, everyone's an expert in dancing.
Yes. So now I can, as a musician, I am able to understand already what the book is about. Like I don't even need to read the book to want to gift it and give it and spread it around. Because I promise you, I don't know. India is going through a lot of crisis in this exact thing. And if left to me, I wouldn't give the book to the people in trouble. I would give it to their parents, to their colleagues, or their uncles and aunts, you know, because if it comes from, yeah, because if I pick up a book and I tell my spouse, like, hey, come read this book with me, like, let's fix our marriage, that's not going to happen. I mean, maybe in a few instances. So I'm feeling like listening to this song, I would give it to their parents, to their colleagues, or their uncles and aunts, you know? Yes, because, and if it comes from, is there an echo? Yeah, because if I pick up a book and I tell my spouse, like, hey, come, right?
I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah,
Can you
so
hear me?
yeah, now I can, right? So, okay, Tolu, okay. So what happens is, I hear the song, Cyrus, and say I'm going through a divorce. It's just I'm going to pick up the book, but I'm not in a position to discuss it with my spouse. So I promise you, I will feel weak. So I want to target the books for family and friends, because in your song you say, give this book to your daughter. So I think the song is going to target the book as a gift, as a guide. Yes.
Yes.
And the last people, I don't know if Tolu ma'am is hearing this, but the last people who are going to love your book, Tolu ma'am, are divorce advocates and attorneys. I mean, you're going to spoil their business.
Well, yeah, that is absolutely right. There are people who advocate fighting against diabetes, but it doesn't mean the shops are going to stop selling jam, right? So, yeah, I understand there are lawyers, divorce lawyers, or as we call them, divorce solicitors. Yes, they may not like it, but in the same way, they are necessary for the society. So is Tolu's book and what Tolu does. So, thank you so much, Pravika. And Tolu, we're going to listen to the remix that I've created. And let's see. So one of them is going to be for your podcast, Tolu. And
Okay.
one of them is going to be, and these have been designed strategically for the purpose, for the role they're going to play in the path of your success. So you've done a worthy job, and if it's worth, as they say, as my mom always says, if it's worth doing right. Okay, so let's do it right. So let's listen to this one. As you can see, it's still raw, and I haven't done much about it, but let's listen to it once.
When it feels like it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic, the sinking ship is your relationship, like you're the captain of the Titanic. When hurt, fear, and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal, when you can no longer fix it, and when the struggle feels too real, gift raging waters to your sons, gift this book to your daughters, teach them to save their marriage in life's bad times and raging waters. write them back when it all feels wrong. Before hearts sink and their ship runs aground, let raging waters bring love back around. Let raging waters bring love back around.
Um, Hi. So Whisper Boy, I want to say something before Tolu ma'am gives a reaction. I don't know. Tolu ma'am, I think your book actually is being, it has the grace of God because you have Cyrus, you have Whisper Boy. Because what happened is when I heard the previous version of the song, you heard what I said. It was like gifted to your daughters, and that sense
Yes.
of the song was the previous generation. My father, I thought of my father. Now, when I hear this song, I'm thinking of my generation and the next generation. If someone younger than me in their 30s listens to this song, the previous one, it would remind them of their grandparents, and they're like, "Oh no, I fucked up. Sorry, I messed up." Yeah, but if I'm in my 30s or late 20s, and I'm having a little bit of confusion with my husband or partner, and I hear this because I'm a person who goes and parties, yeah,
Mm.
and I hear this, I'm gonna be like, what is this? And then don't judge a book by its cover, but the cover is great, so it's all
The
right.
cover's
Judge this book
beautiful,
by
by the way.
its cover.
This cover's fantastic. It just makes people wonder what's in there. That just induces
So,
curiosity.
I mean, this might just the fact that Cyrus has made a remix of his own song, and when this reaches people, okay, let me bring this point. It was a long time ago that Think and Grow Rich and all of these books. I mean, I like Richard Cialdini and Wallace D. Waters personally, but there are these books written by people long dead. And
Yeah.
even today, there are people who don't even know them, who are propagating them, making businesses out of it. I foresee this as something, that's going to gather steam and in a very organic way, because this is scaring people. This is scaring people because I have made a video yesterday where I'm talking about the fact that I got upset. I saw an ad on my YouTube. It is one of these TV series that comes in, the daytime TV series, and it is encouraging a woman to leave her husband. I'm not even kidding. It's 3 years running. How do you? And for 3 years they're continuing to separate. It's just messed up. And I made a video asking people, why don't you make TV shows which shows people coming together? Because they're always showing, at least in India, it's always the husband who's a bad guy. And I'm like, no, maybe it's the woman who is not taking care.
Hmm.
Yes, and that's why it's splitting. You don't make women become independent. I mean, that's what I say in the video. What do women do after becoming independent? Go and do what? You want them to come together. Yes. So there is this, it's going to take a little time. Yes, it's
Yes.
going to grow very organically, but I see this having a 150-year timeline. It is very, very strong. And ma'am, my mom says, easy come, easy go. Okay? If you become a bestseller this year, there's going to be a bestseller next year.
True.
And then you know it. So I'm going to be extremely happy just to see people fix their lives, and it's going to take time for them to come out and say, hey, you know what, this helped me. So you should, I mean, okay, for instance, see, today it's just the three of us, and there Natalie, hi. Yes, this is good because this is a core, and the core, if it is strong, it's gonna be great. This is not a party, yes? Everyone comes and then goes away and then goes to another party. No. So I don't know. I mean, Cyrus is just blowing my mind.
Thank you so
And
much.
I want, I mean, in India, it's I've started a campaign called Yella Oke English Yake. I'm urging local people to pick up English. Now, I am seeing this, like if I can go and hold a program where I urge people to come, where I teach them English through your book.
That's
Tell
such a
me
good
about
idea.
it.
Wow.
It's so
By the way,
much.
Tolu, thank you. Thank you so much. So, Purvika, thank you. I listened to your audiobook. You know that chapter that you sent me.
Yeah.
Microphone loves you. I'm telling you, you sound fantastic on that episode, and that gave me the idea that yes, she should have a podcast, because I'm a podcast creator. I create podcasts and I create podcasters. So I think you have the potential for podcasting. If you spend the time and energy on it, you will be a hit in your category, which is advocacy of the
Marriage.
anti-divorce campaigns that you can run. I think it would be a really good idea if you start that podcast that I suggested. So I've already got a podcast mate for you in mind. I have spoken with her already, and so soon we're going to have a joint meeting, and I am designing the podcast concept. So I'm conceptualizing right now as we speak, and it's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be more exciting than this piece of music I just heard. And this piece of music excites me, honestly. And now, so I'm going to show you guys and the rest of the lovely viewers and listeners, not listeners, sorry, viewers, a little bit of the work that we are doing here, right? So, can you guys see the screen? Yeah.
I don't see it yet. No.
No. Okay. Yes, there you go.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So let's listen to just this selection. Okay, so that's the bit. We're going to select this bit. We're going to add a plugin. Add a sound effect to it. Turns, maybe. This one. This one.
it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic. The sinking ship, your relationship, like you're the captain of the Titanic. When her fear and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal. When you can no longer fix it, and when the struggle feels too real, give raging waters to your sons, give this book to your daughters, teach them to save their life's that time, raging waters. When it feels like it's too late to save your ship. When her fear and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal.
Okay, so I think I'm not sure how much you guys agree, but I think this version that we just finalizing brings the voice of the singer out a little bit and makes it more prominent compared to the music that was drowning the singer, the singer into the music. So I believe this version is going to sound well, and so the system's actually processing it now, right? And yes, okay. So as soon as we have, and by the way, this preset that I just added, I have worked on each of these at least for a few days, and each day for like 5-6 hours at a time. Like I would say, I have spent months like perfecting these. All musicians do that. I don't consider myself a musician, and compared to a lot of professionals out there who have skills like times and times better than mine, my work is not that considerable. It's not that remarkable. The importance of my work is to strategically create music to promote a book, because there are music producers out there, but they don't know how to use branding and promotion. But there are also on the flip side of it, there are promoters and advertisers out there who don't know music. So you should know enough of something to start doing it, and then you can perfect your methods later on. But as Pravika mentioned earlier, and as Tolu, as Tolu mentioned, and Pravika also referred to it earlier, don't wait. Just do something about it. Okay, so the world is full of authors and creators and promoters who died before they became promoters and authors, and before they had a chance to actually do what they love. Okay, so don't wait, and don't wait for a perfect moment. Perfect moment is for people who don't really want to do it, or they are too scared to do it. Okay, don't you think I was scared of doing what I'm doing now? I was, yeah, I was. I still am sometimes, but you have to do it. Then let people judge you. Those people are called customers. Give them a chance to judge you. When you let them judge you, once you actually take their advice on board and you apply it, then they will judge you again. But this time, the second time around, the judgment will be better, will be more favorable, right? Just create a community, listen to them, and find out what they want. And what do they want? They want harmony. They want a product that solves a problem, right? They want less hassle. They want more So everything that they do, everything that a human being does, is walking away from troubles and walking towards comfort, right? Walking towards comfort and away from troubles and discomfort, right? So walking towards comfort and walking away from discomfort, because evolutionary, from an evolutionary standpoint, people don't want to be in trouble. People don't want to be ill. They don't want to be ill physically, mentally. They don't want to be in trouble financially, because they associate those things with disease, and they associate disease and discomfort with death. Okay, so and annihilation. They want a comfortable and healthy life. Okay, so comfort and health is the two main things that people are seeking in this life. Why? Because they associate those with a healthy life and a lengthy life and a hassle-free one. So, so if you're creating a product, if you're writing a book, whatever you do it with the intention of solving a problem. Then you will make your first million. If you solve a problem that wasn't solved before, or if you solve a problem the way that is not solved by other people, then you win. That's how you win in the market. And before everything else, you need to put your product in front of the eyeballs, in front of people's eyes and ears, in our case. Okay, because later on, people are going to want to listen to Tolu's book, right? And what happens if she doesn't create that audiobook? She will lose the custom of people who don't read books. Me, I'm one of them.
Yes.
Yes, many people are these days. People are too busy to sit down and read books. Book readers are still reading. Okay, I still read, but I mostly do it in the form of listening. There has been a shift in the industry, and that shift was caused by modern life. And then somewhere like Amazon came out and said, all right, okay, so we're going to create something called audiobook. And that's one of the platforms, but they're doing it in such an efficient way, and everybody is actually attracted to them. And I'm one of the customers. And no problem, and no BS. You just pay your subscription and you listen to the books that you want to listen to. That's it. So now there are, let's say, 516 books in your category, and they all have. Some of them have. I'm looking at it from a customer's point of view, right? Let's say 200 of them don't have audiobooks, and the other 316 have audiobooks. So automatically, for some people, those 200 books are disqualified. They might be better, but they're disqualified. That's human nature. They just want to listen to books. Okay, I'm talking about majority of people these days who listen to books on the run, right? They on the fly. So they want to drive and listen to books. They want to wash the dishes and listen to books, right? A while back, people weren't able to read a book and wash the dishes. It makes no sense. You can't wash your dishes and read a book at the same time. It's very difficult and very awkward. Okay, so it's going to take you 5 hours to wash 2 dirty plates. Okay, so if you listen to it though, that's fine. Nobody cares where you are and what you're doing. You're listening, right? So now I have heard about Tolu Ekwe, and apparently there's a music about her book. Have you listened to the music? Yeah, I've listened to the music. International language. What is it? Is it English? No, it's music. The international language nowadays, it's music, not a particular language. It's not Spanish, it's not English, it's not German, it's not Italian, right? So so if you speak people's language, people will talk back, right? If they can hear you. So how is it that you can be music in a world of noise? right? Read my book, listen to my book. Everyone's doing that, right? I've written a book. Well, who hasn't? Right? Almost everyone's on LinkedIn, at least the people I know, almost everyone's got a book now, promoting it. It's a new thing, and everyone's turning into authors. What should the authors who already published, what should they do? They should be music. Because a human being who comes to your event, or who comes to, who is trying to look for a book, look for an audiobook, human brain's job is to get rid of the noise, focus on what matters. Okay, so during the day, and a side note to people who want to write, help people survive and thrive. Otherwise, they're not interested. Survive or thrive. Tolu's helping people survive in their relationship, keeping something alive. Right? There are these apps these days that are becoming more and more famous. You can take a picture of your plants, and that app tells you, don't water that plant. Don't just give them water. Add a little bit of sugar, add a little bit of salt, add a little bit of thyme or cinnamon to that water, and then give it to that plant, right? So those apps are famous because they are helping you keep your plants alive, right? There are apps that you can hold them near your dog or cat, and as they are barking or meowing, they translate what they mean, what they're trying to say. There are apps out there now who tell you what your baby means. Babies aren't verbal yet. At the age of 1 or 2, they're not verbal yet. They can't string together a full sentence. But that app is solving a problem, right? So if you're creating something, make sure that's a marketing. That's marketing 101, right? If you're solving a problem, you can win. If you're not solving a problem, you can't win. If you go to the market and say, I am better than you, I am the best, nobody cares. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So if you're out there telling people, oh, I've written this book and I'm very important, automatically you turn into competition in the eyes of that customer. People hate competition, right? So you want to become a guide in the market, and people will join you. They will gravitate towards you, right? And now, Tolu, when you wrote the book, was that the outcome of personal experiences, or was it personal studies? And what basically triggered the process? Tell us about that, please.
Okay, great question. So first of all, what the book is about, I guess you get a feel of it from the music. It's telling you a lot about infidelity, but also about the journey to that place, okay? It's talking about a couple, or it's addressing couples where that's not the intention. You know, you have some people that are diehard, rugged cheats. You know, they would cheat for a living. They would cheat for free. They would, you know, it's just what they do. Those are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about people who don't intend to do that, who mean well, who mean to stay in a stable, healthy relationship with their spouse, who have good intentions, and then somewhere along the line, something goes wrong. And for many decent couples out there, many people who mean well, it's almost a shock for them as well. You know, how did we get here? How did this happen? So this kind of shines the light on that journey, but also on what you can do about it. So it becomes clearer and unravels that a bit. Now, the question of whether this was our experience. Let me say first that tomorrow is our wedding anniversary. We're going to be 21 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And in 21 years, a lot happens, right? So, but we while this is not really, maybe bits of it are some of our experience, we've also been marriage counselors in our local place of worship, where God has really been instrumental in helping us, along with other couples, to help couples through these kinds of experiences. So what you have in this novel, parts of it are things that we experience. Now we've had situations where we've almost gone off, where things could have gone wrong, and things could have gone very wrong, but thankfully they did not. And so also stopping to say, wait, this almost happened. Okay, it didn't happen. Thank God it didn't happen. But how come, with all our good intentions, with all our faith in God, with all our meaning well, how come this could have happened? And if it could have happened for us, then what about other people? And then also taking the bits from other people's experiences in the course of counseling, you realize, wow, there's so much that we can put together and help people to see that maybe, if they look at, would stop them from getting into the raging waters, or falling or drowning in the raging waters of infidelity. So that's how the book came out.
Absolutely. Many years ago, here I'm gonna turn to Purvika and ask what Purvika thinks. So Purvika, many years ago, and Tolu, of course, many years ago, people had a slightly different mentality. Their mentality was, if it's broken, we can try to fix it, and you could resolve the issue. Now, ever since things became more, the industries went towards making things disposable, or they made it cheap enough to be replaceable, right? It is now, it now makes more economic sense to replace things. Okay, so people, being people, they transferred that mentality to their own lives. My boyfriend is stupid, I'm going to replace him. My girlfriend is stupid, I'm going to replace her. I'm not even going to focus on the fact that that way of thinking is super wrong. Yeah. So if it's wrong to say it, it is also wrong to think it. Right? So nobody's stupid. You may find them stupid. You may find what they've done is stupid, but nobody's stupid. We're dealing with here, we're talking about the most intelligent of all species on this planet, right? So people are many things, but they're not stupid. They do stupid things, right? So if you look at the human history, it's full of examples where things went wrong, avoidable situations. I'm talking about those things, right? I'm not talking about a flood. I'm talking about genocide and people killing each other. Is it necessary? It can never be necessary. Is it right? It can never be right. Killing and violence is wrong. So why is it? Because we judge. We judge the situation. So because let me put it this way: it's easier to judge than to think.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So that is the reason why we judge people, and oh, such and such man makes more money than mine, and I'm going to join that man in marriage or in a relationship or whatever. Then you take the same mentality to the new relationship, and you build the new relationship with the bricks that you bring from the ruins of the last relationship. And of course, the problem isn't the bricks. The problem is the architect. There is a flaw in the design. The design is flawed. You are flawed. And the new boyfriend or your new husband is going to be the same as the last one. Partly because you make them. Otherwise, what are the chances of 5 men being the same? You've done it. Now, the same thing applies to the guy. I've got a girlfriend who's not as beautiful as this other girl that I have in mind. Let me get rid of her. Let me go to the next one. Oh, I just found another one that is more beautiful than the last one. And the guy goes on and on. Oh, this one treats me better. It's better. Okay, so I'm not saying being treated better is not a good criteria. It is, but we never, when we sit down with our parents or with our sisters or brothers, we never tell them how we treated that boyfriend or girlfriend of ours, do we? We always say what they've done to us, right? So because we are biased, okay, we are biased, and if, in my experience, if your mentality is to judge, well, you're not a judge. What are you doing judging, right? I'm a marketer. Well, yeah, my brain is judging since the moment I wake up till the moment I go to bed. I can't blame my brain for doing that. It's a self-preservation mechanism. It is in there to protect me. Yeah, that's fine. But if I'm applying my notions and my presuppositions about things and people to people, if I'm applying those judgments, that's when things can go wrong.
Yeah.
And thinking that you can't go wrong, thinking that you're not wrong, is super wrong. That's when things go super wrong. So now I want to see your view on the difference between fixing things and replacing them. When is it that we should fix? When is it that we should replace?
Yeah, I have a point.
You next. Go on. Sorry,
sorry, Tolu. So I would like you guys to use this, when you're communicating with anyone. So let me share this. So it's the institution of marriage, right? It was a community affair, a tribe affair. It was family, and it was meant to be for long, for better or worse. Yes?
Yeah.
So I want to share a small anecdote. In Islam, a husband can leave a wife by saying talak, the word talak, 3 times. Okay?
That means
so
that word.
it's like
That word means.
A talak means
meaning?
it's like it means no. It's like a strike. 3 strikes, you're out.
Yes. So
Okay.
regarding that
Hold
word,
on.
let me. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Let me give some clarification regarding that. So talak in the it comes from Arabic language, and that means divorce and termination of relationship.
Yeah.
Right. Just to be precise. Please go ahead.
So yes. So what happened is, in the 80s and 90s, in Indian film, I don't know about Islam in the rest of the world. Yes, I'm only from India. And the Hindi and Kannada, only 2 languages that I know of India. We have like 30 odd languages, yes, but only in these 2 languages, the commercial films that were coming, what they did was, for like antique, or for just to like, for sake of saving time, it's just it's just 3-hour film, yes, you need to crux a lot into it. So what they would do is, in one scene, right? In one instance, the woman is crying and she's having a fight with the husband, and the husband goes, talak, talak, talak. Okay? But that's not how it was supposed to be. Technically, it's like, it's just not possible anymore. And the guy says to the girl, talak. It's like, strike 1. You have 2 more strikes to go. Don't mess up again. So it's not to say bye, bye, bye. It's to say, hey, you need to check yourself. And if I'm not wrong, there was this even from the woman's side, where she said, hey, maybe the guy wants to do, sorry if I'm talking about it, maybe he wants to take a position in bed that she's not comfortable with. So she gets to say, hey, strike 1 and strike 2. And so I'm coming back to the point of when we need to fix it and when we need to replace it. So obviously back then there was the family, there were the elders, they were around, they were not in like old age homes or something, right? They were right there watching the couple throughout. And if a guy says talak and it's not meant to be, the elders would come in and say, hey, that's not counted. He's just saying it. He's just maybe inebriated, or he's just like shaky. She's just pissed off or something. So the point of this, I'm not even Islam, yes, but I got very affected when I got to know that it's not supposed to be said. I mean, that the films misrepresented it. And because a big film star did that, or a big film guy made it into one instance, in one evening, a man says, and it's gone. See, that is where the entertainment media have made us want to replace the person. No, actually, it's about fixing it. You say, hey, you crossed a line. And obviously, you don't want to break a marriage. At least 20, 30 years ago, that was everybody's mindset, that you don't want to break it. You know when you've crossed the line and you make amends at your end. So it's supposed to be about fixing. And I completely think that most of the responsibility of this replacement thing, of, not this guy's not good enough, you go to the next guy, that is not from any culture, from any part of the world. It is something created by the entertainment media. And I think Tolu might end up becoming one of these family counselors, because what I'm seeing when people are counseling families or husbands and wives not to break up, they are trying to make money. They keep getting them back every week, every month. Otherwise, how are they going to make money? Here, Tolu has written a book, yes, and it's for you to go and fix it. This is not about replacement, and this is about fixing. So, yes, this is the anecdote I wanted to give. I am sorry, Cyrus. I think I just, it hits a little different when we bring up these things. It's the entertainment media that made this word talak, yes, become a separation thing, when actually it was meant to be a threat. It was just supposed to be a threat, saying, hey, if you cross this line too much, this can't work out anymore. And so I think a book like this, if there are many other books like this, you tell me why nobody's made a song out of it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the point you're trying to make is the media are trying to make people and things replaceable. But I believe we should take one step further back. Who's making them do that? So we're going to listen to the answer from Tolu. So Tolu, who do you think is responsible for? So is making the media promote that? What is your view on that? Why is it that they are pushing for further and further divorces? In 40s and 50s, people were pushed towards, or 30s, 40s, 50s, people were being forced and encouraged towards marrying each other, marriage. Now, there has been a shift in the market's paradigm, if you will. And what do you think that reason might be?
So I love the question, and it's something that I think we all need to look into. I have a perspective, and I'm not necessarily an authority on why the entertainment industry is doing what they do, but I have some theories, and I can also tell you what I see as the effect of what they're doing. Excuse me, I need to clear my... Excuse me. Yeah, so I think that my background is in health, okay? And you know that the cell is the smallest unit in the human body. So you have cells that come together to produce tissues. and tissues come together to produce organs, and organs come together to produce, systems, and then systems come together and you have the body. That is kind of how almost anything else that is a complex system is developed. There are small units. So for us as humans, the smallest unit is the individual. The individual comes together with another individual and you produce a marriage. That marriage produces children, and that's a family. It's a unit. And then you have multiple families, the extended family, and then you have the entire society. Now, the stronger each subunit is, the stronger the larger unit. So how do I destroy a society? How do I destroy a country? If I can weaken the smaller units, if I can separate marriages and separate families and have children who don't know which bed they're going to sleep in tonight and what part of town they're going to spend Christmas in, if I can have that much confusion, I can weaken the society. Whose interest is that in? Now, I like the path that Pravika was towing, which is the matter of where did this idea of divorce come from? Who has romanticized this idea? Why is it so special, so great to just walk away and replace? If my shirt is torn, I can just walk into a store and get a new one. Is that how human relationships are? Are they that flimsy and that replaceable and that unimportant? Now, I do audio rooms on LinkedIn, and I talk about the fact that with marriage, there's something unique about the marriage relationship. When you're dealing with your siblings or your parents or almost anybody else that's in your family, you didn't choose them. You don't get to choose who's your mom and who's your dad. You just find that that's who they are, and you love them, and you just grow in that relationship. Same thing with your siblings. But with your spouse, in Nigeria, I would say with your full chest, with your eyes wide open, you look at this one and that one and the other one, and you say, you know what, you're the one. And then you make this commitment. And you say, for better, for worse. In Christianity, we say, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. It's a commitment you make. You make that commitment, and hopefully, if you're a person of faith, maybe you make the commitment before God, which means somehow you're aware that there's a divine involvement. You also make that commitment before people, saying, guys, I'm willing to keep my word. You guys hold me to it. That's why you don't usually do a marriage, in some secret corner, just the two of you, because nobody else knows, right? You need somebody to know. Even if you go to the court knows. So then you don't keep your word. Why? Because you're upset. When you're upset with your siblings, you stick with them because you don't have a divorce option. You don't divorce your parents because do they not offend you? Let's think about it. Don't we get offended with everybody else? But we don't think we have that option, and so we don't take that option. But you see, this spouse, well, I can just get another one. And like Cyrus said, very important, we go with the same attitude we had before. That's why you find that the second divorce is easier than the first, and the third is easier than the second. The more divorces you have, the more you can have, because it's just taking off another shirt. But is that the truth? How many wounds, how many injuries do we leave in that, in our wake as we keep doing this damage to one another and to ourselves? So this is something that's doing damage. And if it was just to us, hey, it's your life, do as you please. We like to say that, right? But we're doing damage to the next generation, scarring people for life. No, we need to do better. We need to do better.
So my current owner, he is separated. He has two daughters, 13 and 15 years old. And I got to meet one of them, the younger one. Yes. And what you said, ma'am, is just absolutely right, because now, unfortunately, the parents are separated. So one girl stays with one, the other one stays with.
I'm sorry, Pravika, you mentioned my current what, sorry?
Owner, house owner.
Oh,
My
the
landlord.
landlord. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I met his younger daughter. The younger daughter stays with the dad. The older daughter stays with the mom. I met the younger daughter, and ma'am, what you're saying, I'm seeing in, I mean, before I've just seen it in films, yes, especially in Western films and series, but I got to see it in my city with my people. And the younger one is, sorry, but she's such a B word, you know? She is, she's built a shell. She's so scared of being hurt. She's decided at 13 that she's going to be childless, that all she's going to do is make money and she's just going to enjoy life. But I can see that she's not 13, she's 23, 25 years old. I mean, her body language. I've seen her with her friends, yes, when they walk together from school. And she's like an adult, and it is very, very scary for films to romanticize it's the separation. So I think what ma'am said is a very crucial point, that it affects the future generations, and it does affect the previous generation too, because the grandparents are now messed up. They're like, what did we do wrong? No, they just showed their kids a couple of films, and their kids are now separated, and now they don't know what to do with the grandkids. So it's affecting two generations, the previous and the next. Or
Pardon me, please, Cyrus. Let me add something too. Thank you. Thank you for that, Pravika.
Thank you.
And here's the thing. With the matter of separation, right? It's that we are modeling to the next generation what to do in these circumstances. We're telling them that when things get tough, walk. We're saying that that's the only way to solve problems. Many times you find that as adults, we tend to revert to what we saw our parents do. So if we saw them laugh a lot, then we kind of expect that in our relationship we should be laughing a lot. If we saw them bicker a lot and argue a lot, but somehow get over it, then we think, okay, we will bicker, we're not threatened by it, we'll get over it. But then if we see that when things get tough, you walk, then that's what we tend to do by default. And so that's what's scary. That's part of what is scary, that we are handing over to the next generation how to handle problems. And the further away they go from those grandparents you're talking about, the more that generation dies off. Then this is what they think is normal. Then what happens to generations after them? What happens to society?
point. Cyrus, ma'am, are you seeing how just this one audio event is bringing up so many points? Because I'm giving you my life experiences and I'm getting clarity too. Yes, from you. So I want, and yes, not just your voice, ma'am, you have a great personality. Cyrus
Absolutely.
is, I don't know, Cyrus is a multi-potentialite. He is one of the best marketing people I have seen, a very great musician, no matter, and
Thank
one
you.
of the most funniest comedians. Funniest comedian. See, I pulled one on you, Cyrus. uh, ma'am, you should totally do the podcast, because what I have experienced, not with divorce books, of course, I've never gone to any of those, but with any other book, is an author writes a book and they're done, yes, and subconsciously it's called what, the mass intelligence, the common man's intelligence. They might make the wrong choice, but they somewhere they know what's happening. Yes, intuition, yes. So authors write books and then they're just waiting to see, they'll give interviews maybe when someone says, I want to interview about your book, and they respond to comments, and the person, a consumer, knows that, hey, they're making money out of this. I'm going to read this book, I'm going to take this book, but they made the money. This might not
Rika,
actually affect me.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. We're talking about Raging
The podcast,
Waters.
yes, the
We're talking
raging
about
waters.
Raging Waters.
So
Tolu
yes,
Ekwe's
let me
new book.
finish. Yes, that's what I'm getting at. So when you do the podcast, ma'am, yes, probably you, I don't know the frequency of the podcast, but you are going to be picking up different topics. You know, maybe one time you're talking about the previous generation. We covered maybe 3 or 4 different points, which Cyrus, I think, would be so great at extending it into an extended podcast. And when people start to relate to one of these things, it will gravitate them to want to read the book. So please do the podcast, because when Cyrus is asking you questions, uh, it feels like I'm in an interview. You know, that's like a Times magazine, something like that. It seems you have a lot of information, and it's, I think you can add to this, and please do the podcast. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, Cyrus. I'm not
Thank you.
straying away from the book.
No, I know,
Thank
I
you.
know. So, Pravika, I want to give Michael a chance to talk about the concept of why the concept of divorce and why it is being pushed as a narrative increasingly in our time. So, Michael, thank you
Okay.
so much for joining our show, and please go ahead and let our viewers and listeners on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram know what your view is, please.
Okay. The way I see it, the narrative of divorce is being pushed because it's a dying institute. The way I see it, there are a lot of people, and the reason why it's dying is because of human nature. And human nature has a tendency, and let's just say, when I say human nature, I'm talking about man's nature, not female nature, but man's nature, which is also driving females away from actually going into any kind of marriage, or even just sustaining a marriage, and just moving away, and really supporting divorce. Divorces are becoming easier because men are driving it. There's always a tendency of men wanting to have other women, men wanting to have the other thing, looking over on the other side, in the other, in the other yard, and saying, well, that thing is better. That's a tendency of men, of men. There's also this issue of sex. Men are becoming more and more sex crazed. This thing about being a man and being sexy, and going out there and getting your own, and sowing your oats, has become a rave, has become a thing to do. And when you're a young man, when you're growing up with all these emotions going on, and they're wild emotions inside of you, that's exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, I got to go out there and do all these things. Starting from the age of about what, 14, 15, somewhere around there, men start thinking about these things. Yeah. So that's why, and thus, we've come to a point where we're actually getting data revealing the fact that, there are a lot of households that are being broken as a result, and divorce rates are going up, and they're going to go, in the near future, they're just going to skyrocket and become totally the thing to do. And in some societies, it's actually the thing to do. You go in, you attempt, you can't make it, you file for a divorce right away. Both sides are capable of doing that. In some countries in Africa, it's normal. It's become the hottest thing in. You find a woman has had already 3, 4, or 5 husbands. That's normal. It's okay. It's not a big deal. In their culture, they figure out how to figure it out, how it works out and how it plays out, and it's done. Islam, you don't like this wife, you divorce. You can actually divorce. I heard it's like you can actually get a divorce and actually move on with the next wife. Of course, you have to take care of this one that you picked up. You
Well,
actually do that.
just
I
for the
don't
sake
know.
of balance, I'm going to, Michael, intervene and say, it's not just one religion; it's all religions, and it's just
Yes.
that's that's the way the cookie crumbles. If it's a wife, if it's a husband, if they want to trigger that gun and trigger the process, and once that bullet is out of that gun, it's gone, right?
Yeah,
So
and that's basically what I'm trying to say. Is that it's all over the world, and
yeah,
that's why we're discussing it, because
it's across all cultures, across all countries. Yeah,
across all cultures, across all countries. It's become an epidemic. Yep, it's going to become an epidemic if it's not already. And Tolu has definitely, her book is going out there to try and stem it, and she's trying her very best to do that. I don't know how it's being received, but from what I can tell, it's being received pretty well, since we have her on board to actually discuss
it's
it.
definitely been received pretty well. Yes,
And I'm very impressed by that. If you can, let me know a little bit more about that, that would be great. But also, Pravik was talking about a podcast. I was like, wow, she's actually going to do a podcast too. Tolu, you're actually entertaining that? Wow.
mm-hmm.
I'm very impressed that you're actually doing that too. And I can tell me the advantages, because now you have to tell us exactly what is it a podcast going to do for Tolu and the subject matter. And I know, Cyrus, you've got quite a bit of input in this.
Absolutely. I was going to say, Michael, people, thinkers such as yourself, go to Google and search podcasts. Okay, it's not every day that they need a book about divorce, but it is every day that they may think about it. And podcasts are more readily available than books. You don't have to pay for a book. You don't have to pay for a podcast, but you have to pay for a book. So people these days, and that's one of the reasons why people are more gravitating towards podcasts than audiobooks. But if there is a podcast, and that podcast is solving a problem, if the call to action at the end of that podcast episode is, please go ahead and buy my book, if I'm that listener, of course I will, because I already feel in debt of the author who's already solved a few problems in my head and they helped me. Of course I'm going to buy their book because that person is a helpful person. Of course I'm going to buy their book, right? So podcasts open a lot of doors for it's a gateway to success, podcast, right? So
yes,
door opener. What do you think, Michael?
Yes, I absolutely and utterly do think that's the angle, and that's the direction that she should head, because Tolu is gifted in terms of
absolutely
being able to speak about the subject and being able to be truthful and honest and gifted. That's the thing, gifted. And maybe she does not know that she's a gifted podcaster. She is, and it's all a matter of just letting her. Tolu, please, if you want, please pursue it. I hope you have enough time and everything. But I do believe, and I have in all truthfulness, I believe that you are definitely the most capable person to pursue this subject and actually own it.
Absolutely, I can't agree more. I can't agree with you more on that.
Wow.
So,
thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it.
Yeah, please continue, Tolu. Please share with us how do you feel about the subject of the importance of the book that you've written. Okay, after I add a few pointers in the back of Michael's points. I will go to you afterwards, and please continue after these points that I'm going to make. I was going to say the book is very important because compared to the past, consumerism has attacked the basis of family. Many years ago,
Too true.
Many years ago, you would have to, as a man, you had to work and provide for a wife and children. This is America or Europe or America as a continent in 30s, in 20s, in 40s, right? Then a shift happened. 2 world wars happened. And it was more of a patriarchy because the world was built up by men, and the roles back then, right or wrong, back then the worlds were like that. Okay, please don't hate me for just sharing the history of us with us. Okay, history of ours with us.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so back then, there are many people who get triggered by listening to the history. Okay, the history is history. It's what's happened in the past, right?
Mhm.
And it shouldn't trigger anyone. Well, it does. And let's not forget that triggers are wounds that haven't been healed yet. That's what triggers are. So, anyway, back then, the industry owners, they had a few favorite things that they wanted to happen. One, send your children to school and put them in uniform so they get used to the uniforms of our factories, and teach them obedience above everything else.
Mhm.
And teach them how to be on time, and teach them the things we need them to know, and nothing further, nothing beyond that. Okay, why do you think it is that our schools don't teach how to deal with money? Because you're gonna work for yourself. You're not gonna work in the industry owners' factories, are you?
No.
When you learn to be a free-minded person, would you become a slave? Would your mind become enslaved by someone else? No.
Right.
So it is, as an industry owner, it is as a 20s, 30s industry owner, my interest was what really mattered. You're my slave. I am your master. Your children are my slaves as well. This is the mentality of the industry owners, right? So why do you think they put children in uniforms? To teach them. Uni means one. Form means a form. The same form. Everybody needs to shape up. Yeah, they need to be the same form, same mentalities, everything. Yeah, cookie cutter mentality. Then they said, okay, I want to tax your wives as well. Your wives are working at home, and the families were like, haha, you can't tax my wife because my wife's not working. And they were like, hang on a minute, that's about to change. Your wife's going to have to work as well. Why don't you let your wife work? Well, I'm not stopping my wife from working. Men thought, my wife can work. Go ahead. Then they taxed both individuals. What happens to the children? You have to get a childminder. You have to send them to kindergarten. Then there was more opportunities for taxing the hell out of people, and especially out of the family, right? So now there's going to be people who agree, people who disagree, but that's the history. You can you can disagree with the history all you want.
As long as you have an income, you're going to be taxed.
Yes. So if I can tax you, I'm gonna tax you on tax as well. I'm gonna tax you on the tax you pay on the tax as well, if I can. Right? So if Tolu sells me a book, they're gonna charge tax on Tolu's book. Tolu's paying tax for that book to be printed. Right. So Tolu's already paid tax on it. Then Tolu sells it to me, and I have to pay tax on something Tolu already paid tax on. Then, hang on a minute, what happened? The same thing, and I've paid already money. I've already paid tax on the money I've made. I thought you taxed me once. That was enough, right? No. You have to pay tax on the money that you're making, and you have to pay tax on the objects you're buying with that money that you've already made and paid tax on. Cheese on rice. So, then we started telling those industry owners, started telling women, it is a value for you to want to be not in that marriage anymore. You know that marriage I was pushing, right? I was pushing it 2 decades ago. I've changed my mind. Sorry. You don't have to stay in it anymore. Do what you want. Be infidel. Be disloyal to your husband. Husbands, on the other hand, yes, go ahead. Have you seen those beautiful women on the television? Right? And are they in black and white? Don't worry, buy color TV. I've got a product for that. Right? And you want to be in a relationship with 5 women at the same time, with 10? I have an app for that now. Right? Do whatever you want, but just don't focus on a marriage and staying loyal to one woman or one man. Right? So whatever is happening, you have to think of things in the grand scheme of things. Right? So whatever is happening is dictated by industry owners. Okay, I'm not going to name names. You can do your own research. But whatever is happening is happening because of the fact that whatever's happening in the world is happening for a reason, and that reason is some industry owner or some industry owners, right? Because it is in their best of interest for you to take some sort of medication. As an example, we are forcing men to be put on certain medication. Then we put them on all. We create in our health systems. We tell men that you have to take a certain type of medication. Then men go ahead and take that type of medication. Then they, as a result of that medication that we put them on, and we shouldn't have, they become impotent. They deal with impotence, if that's the word, I think. So they become impotent, and they're gonna have to take medication for that. Once they take that medication, they're gonna get another issue, and everyone's like, "Don't worry, there's a pill for that." So they give you a pill, they give you a tablet, and I'm not talking about Apple tablets. I'm talking about pills. So now I pushed the man to work. I worked the man to the ground in 20s and 30s, right? And what was the women's job? Taking care of the children and being at home. Then I decided, as an industry owner in 20s and 30s and before that, I decided, oh, that's enough. I want to tax both. So I made it impossible for the man and the woman by social and peer pressure, social pressure, and by social engineering. I made it imperative for them to listen to me on the television, and I told them it's a good thing. I'll give you a comfortable sofa. Go home and sit on it. I'll give you a telly from afar, vision. Just watching something, television. You just watch something that I'm transmitting to you from afar, from a distance, right? That's all you need to do. Watch my stuff. Now, the same thing is happening, only everything has an app. Okay, so there's TikTok, there's other ways of entertainment. Between 5 and 6 hours a day we spend on multi-platforms, right? And again, just to give you some marketing advice again, whatever you're creating, if it's a book, if it's a scooter, if it's whatever you're creating, whatever product you're creating, find out where most of your customers are and pay for advertising on that platform. On other platforms, advertise, but pay for advertising on the platforms where most of your customers reside. Because people are living on these apps these days. They don't just use them. So, Tolu, I believe you've done a great job. You and your husband, you've done a great job, and that book needs to be advertised. I haven't had a chance to thank my friends who've joined our show. Thank you so much for doing so. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. You could spend your time anywhere, but you chose us. Thank you. And what we are doing now, we're talking about hi Michael, hi Lisa, hi Zara, hi Esther, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us. So what we are doing now, we're talking about Raging Waters by Tolu Ekwe and Kingsley Ekwe, if I'm not mistaken. And this book has been published. It is available on Amazon. Please go ahead and make your purchase. Who needs the book? That's the main thing. If you know someone, guys, this is it. The cheapest form of therapy that you could ever find. Not in terms of value, but in terms of price. Okay, the cheapest form of value, and if Tolu wanted, she could charge thousands for the service that she provides, but she chooses to be doing what she is doing. She's an educator in a way, so and a speaker, and of course now a co-author as well. She's got 14 books. She didn't start last Thursday. This is the 14th book. So she's got quite a high level of experience. And Natalie, thank you so much for your comments. She likes what she's watching in this show. Hi Esther, hi. Esther is saying hi to Purvika as well. So hi, this is Purvika. Ladies and gentlemen, she's a poet and a dancer from India. And speaking of dancers and speaking of music, guys, sometimes life gets difficult. Okay, it has certainly become difficult in my life at some point. So I understand it. Okay, so life is like going to a party. Okay, and the music is being played. The DJ is the creator. I'm not a religious person, but Mother Nature, whatever you want to call that creator, or God, or higher being. So that music is playing. That music is being played, and maybe that DJ is not playing your favorite music right now, but you're already on the dance floor. You're already dancing. Dance to the tunes that the Mother Nature is playing for the rest of the human beings until your music comes on. Your time will come. Tolu's time has come. Time has come after 14 books. She's gaining more traction, gaining more fame, and she didn't become famous on the first book, did she? She's become famous on the 14th book. It takes 14 books sometimes to become famous. 14 books. She didn't stop. Imagine if she had stopped on the 13th book. We wouldn't have the pleasure of having her in our show. And Purvika certainly wouldn't be able to, potentially, maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't, but wouldn't be able to tell her, Tolu, thank you for the books that you are creating. What do you think is going to happen to Tolu now? She's going to go for the 15th book. I guarantee that. Esther says, it's nice to see you in person. Oh, thank you so much, Esther. Thank you. Esther is saying 14 books, Tolu. You are really busy, Tolu. Of course, 14 books. And I just want to say something to you, Tolu. Thank you so much for not giving up. Thank you ever so much for not giving up on the previous books, right? if it was me, I would probably give up by now.
And
But not
Polly,
you.
could you tell us about the journey? I mean, when you have some time, tell us about the
Absolutely.
journey.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
The 14 books, because that's experience right there. And
Absolutely.
there are also stories as well.
Absolutely.
So
We're
please,
gonna,
tell us.
yeah, of course, we're gonna play the remix of the same track one last time, and after that, we're gonna go to Tolu to talk us through the journey as well.
When it feels like it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic. The sinking ship is your relationship, like you're the captain of the Titanic. When hurt, fear, and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal. When you can no longer fix. When it feels like it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic. The sinking ship is your relationship, like you're the captain of the Titanic. When hurt, fear, and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal. When you can no longer fix it, and when the struggle feels too real, gift raging waters to your sons. Gift this book to your daughters. Teach them to save their marriage in life's bad times and raging waters. Help them navigate when the current is strong. Guide them back when it all feels wrong. Before hearts sink and their ship runs aground, let raging waters bring love back around. Let raging waters bring love back around.
Thank you so much. So, Tolu, please go ahead and tell us about the journey you've had and the reasons behind creating that book.
So-
Please go ahead.
First of all, Cyrus, can you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you, Tolu.
Okay. It doesn't seem like Cyrus can
It
hear
seems
me.
like
Cyrus, can you hear me?
Cyrus, your mic is muted.
Can you all hear me? Okay.
Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So first of all, that song, right? Every time I hear it, I'm just like lost. So I temporarily forgot that I was supposed to answer a question. I'm just like, oh, wow. I'm just lost to the music. It's amazing. Thank you so much once again, Cyrus. Yeah, so about the journey, I think maybe now I can look back and see it as a journey. I didn't then, right? My imagine with me, first of all, I always looked forward to having my own family. I looked forward to marriage. I looked forward to having my own kids. Kids didn't come on time, like not when I expected, right? So we got married and it was 3.5 years before I had my first child. Not planned. I intended that within 1 year I would have my first child, but it didn't work out like that. By the time this baby landed, I was all in, like, oh my goodness. I had books that I was going to read to her. I started reading to her very early. By age 1, she would carry a book, upside down. She doesn't know it's upside down. She's reading to herself, telling herself the story because I was reading to her from the womb. I was reading to her, and by the way, she doesn't have a problem reading. It can be this thick. She's not intimidated by big books. She reads. Anyway, that's a digression. But I had a problem. I had a challenge. I'm the first of 4 children, and I was the first to get married. And my mom fell sick within months of my getting married. She had a form of dementia that meant that her whole personality, everything deteriorated. That's a story for another day. It was quite horrible. But what that meant was this was my mentor through life. Right? Like she was the person who would tell me what to do when I was facing something new, and she was not there. And so I had to try to figure things out. Now I'm raising a 2-year-old turning 3, and then there's another baby that comes, and just about that time, my mother dies. But one of the things that happened was I found that I could connect with these children. I mean, you're an adult, this is a child, you're trying to teach them not to do something. I didn't want children who would just be robots, do this, don't do that. Like, why? And I had a toddler who would always ask me, why? So I started using stories to teach her stuff, and to tell her stuff. And I found I had a flair for it. I would just come up with a story, come up with a character and say something and tell her a story. And she would grasp it. But not only that, she will run with it. And I'll hear her tell other kids, no, you shouldn't do this because, and then she'll be telling them bits of my story. I'm like, oh, interesting. Somebody likes my stories, so it started with that. And then after a while, I would do that with a few kids and find that stories really caught their attention. I'm thinking, hey, okay, if these kids like the stories, maybe other people would too. So I start putting them down. And I'm like, oh, what does it take to publish? And then I, get them up on Amazon, self-published. But I wasn't thinking this is a journey. How are people going to get to know about these books and all of that? I was just thinking, put it out there. Who knows who will want the books? And so the marketing side has not been fantastic, to be honest, in terms of, I'm not a marketer. I'm not really good in that department. That's Cyrus's department, I think. So, I was just writing, and as the stories came, I would write, and then more stories came, and like that. Yeah, made some mistakes along the way. For example, putting too many children's stories in one book doesn't really work for children. Like one story at a time, yeah, they would grasp that. So that was my first error, and then I fixed that down the line. And today, yeah, we have 14 books, including lessons we learned from COVID-19, which was, I'm sure lots of people have heard about that. I'm a co-author there with 9 other authors, amazing Ennio Song and a few others. And then this one, which I co-authored with my husband, Raging Waters. These 2 are the non-children's fiction books out of all my books. So Esther, to answer you, I don't really feel like I've been busy in that sense because it wasn't like, hey, I have a target, let's do 14 books. No, they all came at different times down the road in my journey. Yeah. I don't know, does that answer the question?
Of course it does, and that does answer the question and beyond, of course. Thank you so much. So I can guarantee that anyone who is going through a divorce, anyone who has already been through a divorce, and anyone who is on the verge of wanting to go through a divorce needs this book. Why? So why do you need it before you go through a divorce? Because why let the problem turn into a let a problem you can handle turn into a problem you can't handle, right? Right. So and if you're already going through a divorce, Well, why would you need that book? Well, I'm already driving towards a wall. I can slow down. I can course correct, right? Why should I keep driving towards the destination I don't want to arrive at, which is the wall in this metaphorical example? And if someone's already taken a divorce, sometimes taking a divorce is necessary. Let's not forget that. If it's an abusive relationship, no, there's no point in continuing. We're talking about the situations where abuse hasn't happened. It's just a difference of opinion, right? First of all, please remember, two opinions can coexist simultaneously, right? And two people can be right at the same time, right? That is the basis of many divorces. I call them unnecessary divorces, right? So why should you keep your marriage? Why did you get married in the first place? Ask yourself that question. Every time you want to think about divorce, please think about the reasons why you married him or her, right? And why did you guys get married? I'm going to go to Michael and ask Michael, what are the thoughts a person can think? A person who's going through divorce. What are the thoughts that a person can think to stop them from aggravating the situation, making it worse and worse and worse, and going from a difference of opinion to escalating it to an actual full-blown divorce? And why is it? So that's question number one. What are those thoughts? And why is it that a book like Tolu's book can be helpful?
All right. People go to escalate because they don't understand. I mean, that's the other person on the other side. They're trying to say, what changed, and they're always looking for the things that made things change, the things that made things make sense before. We're all humans. We're all moving towards a certain direction, a certain destination. And as we're moving towards those destinations, don't you think you're always going to change? You are going to change. We're going to change. You don't know what she's going to change into. You don't know what you're going to change into. But, at some point, you start looking at each other like, hey, you're a stranger. I don't even know you. What exactly are you? I mean, seriously? Really? That's how these things escalate, because now you're trying to understand this person is this, I don't understand them. They do things differently than they used to. I used to love the way they used to do things. Now it's kind of like they're doing something totally wacky. I don't understand. I really don't understand. It used to be okay before, but it's not okay now. It's so irritating. I'm sorry. It's so irritating. I just have to back off. But you also have to also take into consideration that what you're doing is not only affecting what you've gone into when you've gotten into a marriage, is you actually joined families, not only two families, but two generations, two different generations, and they're broad, they're really big. They're different, and they're sensitive and emotional and so on and so forth. So this little thing, this tiff that you're having with your wife, or if this tiff that you're having with your husband, how is it going to affect them? It's probably already affecting them because you're going back and complaining about it all the time. Who knows? And it's probably generating some really bad angst because now in their marriages they're having issues and problems and also discussing, hey, but also you do this and do that, all stemming from your really bad, the choices you're making in terms of trying to resolve or in terms of trying to get out all this situation. Now the question to you for yourself is that the kind of life you want to live? Is that the kind of person you want to be? At the end of the day, do you want to look yourself in the mirror and say that I'm the black sheep and I cause all this stuff and I'm having fun and I love it, and oh man, who cares? I'm pretty sure you're not. I'm pretty sure you're thinking to yourself that should not have happened. You didn't bring yourself back And you say to yourself, in your loneliness, you ask yourself, what did I do? How did I do it? Why did I do it? Am I going in the right direction? And I know that you're cringing, because even I did. I cringed. I was like, oh, what am I doing? And why? I found myself to be so insane that I actually got myself in prison. I was that insane. I didn't even know. But that's where I was. I was found there. It's not funny. But I didn't understand how my relationship with my wife got me to that location. And it did. I couldn't believe it. And I had to get out of there. But then these are the bad things that happen. And now you have to figure to yourself, what else am I going to do? Unconsciously, subconsciously. What else am I going to do without resolving this? And this is where the book comes in. She talks to you about the beginning. Before you got married, you probably should have read the book. While you were getting married, you probably should have read the book. There's a lot of things she talks about in there that you need to take into consideration about the relationship with this other person. There's things she brings up. There are clues. There's evidence. There's so on and so forth, which you did not know. You're not gonna learn this in class. You're not gonna learn this by being boyfriend and girlfriend while you're junior level and such and such and such. No, you're not gonna learn these things there. This is real time, big time stuff in that book. You've never heard of it before. You've never seen it before. But she's compiled the experiences that she's gone through and from lots and lots of relationships. So she knows what she's talking about. She's put down together a comprehensive guide to help you navigate. Because when you're out on sea and you're all alone on that little boat, there was a movie I was watching the other day. This FedEx man, yeah, he gets stuck on an island because the plane, basically goes down. He gets stuck in an island. He's all the way over there by himself. His soon to be wife is all the way on the other, in America. He cannot contact them, but he is in turmoil. That's how you are. You're in turmoil, and you just don't know what to do. You're trying your very best to get off of that island, to get back to work to the woman that you love, to marry her, to have children, etc., 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 etc. Continue the life that you thought that you were going to have. But you need to go through and understand. I mean, this day and age, you need to go through and understand what trials and tribulations you're most likely going to face, what trials and tribulations are most likely going to come your way. If you're prepared to face those trials and tribulations at this juncture, so that you don't get one family together with another family intertwined into a situation where now they start blaming each other because of your fault. You don't want that. You really don't. So that to me is the big reason why I considered picking up this book. In fact, I've actually bought it, and it's on its way. It's going to come and get me. I'm hoping while I'm still here. In fact, I better give them another address where I'm definitely going to be, so that it gets to that address instead of to this one, because otherwise I'm going to be screwed. But anyway, that's my issue. But yeah, this is the reason you need the book. It's all about amazing. How you want to live and how you want to die.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for your fantastic share, Michael. You never disappoint, my friend. Never disappoint. That's the beauty of speaking with Michael. So
you're welcome.
Pravika, as a person who's lived on this planet around, 2-3 decades, that tells me you have 3 decades. That tells me you have um, um, if every decade gives you one angle, you have 2-3 angles of different different ways of looking at things, right? I was gonna say, has age anything got to do with it? But then I decided not to ask that question, because there are men and women who take a divorce at the age of 60 or 70. It's to do with how good you are at dispute resolution, right? Problem solving. So if you were to tell, and again, the amount of books you've read doesn't always come into it either, because you could read a book, you could be an author, and your profession doesn't come into it either, because I know many divorce solicitors, divorce lawyers, who have gone through a divorce themselves, right? So what you do, how old you are, and what you know doesn't isn't always the important factor in terms of divorce. People who are living together, just between us, there are times when they think about taking a divorce, when they're angry with their spouse. Okay, so now I guess I'm going to ask the question to this. In your view, what is the most important factor that plays the role of the glue between the spouses, man and man, man and woman, woman and woman, and spouse? Okay, spouses. So what is the glue between the two?
Right. So thank you, because yes, this will be my personal point of view. Yes. My personal relationship situation is not supposed to be taken as an example for anyone. So I will take my parents' marriage as the, as the raw material to answer this question. And I will do the decade thing. And oh, thank you so much, Cyrus. You gave me 3 decades. It's 4. So I have like 4 answers for you and everyone. So in
Inflation
my
for you.
first,
I said 3. You said 4. Inflation for you.
okay, I will answer your last question first. Now, what is the glue that keeps a marriage together? For at the risk of sounding old-fashioned or crazy, it is God. It is God. It's the union. I mean, when you come together, you're creating something. That's God. And when you are together, when you come together, when 2 people come together, and if they're away, there is no God. You can't create. You need 2 hands to clap. So what keeps a couple together, or even a friendship, or a business alliance, it's God. This is the simplest way I can explain it. Now, with respect to the decades, in my first decade of existence, I grew up around my grandparents. Life was different in the 80s and 90s. We would go to our relatives' house quite often. It was not like how it is now. So for me, in my first decade, marriage was a natural thing. I didn't think too much about it. My auntie and uncle is a unit, my mother, father is a unit, my grandparents, and so on. In fact, one of my grandfathers had 2 wives. And there are like a couple of instances, but the 2 wives would live in the same house. In that kind of a thing. During my second decade, so this is when I was growing up a bit, and I was seeing people fighting, not just my parents. I was seeing other couples fighting, neighbors, and everyone. And I was surprised that people could be together. They can be so different, so nasty with each other, but then they go back to their homes. And I found it beautiful. At the same time, I found my relatives urging my mother to leave my father because he was making mistakes professionally, not at work. I'm sorry, not at home. I am not sad to say my father is a failed businessman. That has many other reasons why. I don't blame him. He was just a very good guy, very honest guy. Honest people get screwed first. So there were a lot of people urging my mom to leave my dad in my teens that I saw of, and I was a bit confused in my second decade. Okay, though I was surprised that people are still together, I was still confused. That's why I was surprised, I guess. Now, in my 30s, I started to see, probably by then I had this whole situation of, you can be independent, you can be fine on your own. And these TV series I told you about, where the man is in India, the man goes out and works, and the woman is always at home. So it's the man and the mother in law who are the culprits, literally always. So in my 30s, I was urging my mom, why didn't you leave my dad? Because, yeah, look, everything that people said has come true. So why didn't you leave my dad? Why did you make a mistake? So I promise you, I have been guilty of being on the other side, which was thinking that it would have been beneficial for the four of us, my brother, my father, mother, and I, if we did split up. Now, fast forward to my 30s. 30s, I just started 40 in October. So I have another 1 year for the fourth decade. Now, in my 30s, I am seeing all the independent women and the independent men too. Yes, they are working so hard to show to people that they are fine. And I know they're not, because a barking dog doesn't bite. And when I go on my own social media, all the sorted families, yes, they're not putting up pictures. They're not saying, hey, we celebrated this, we celebrated that. It's only the insecure guys, the insecure couples also, yes, who are out there saying, hey, I'm fine. Hey, I did this. And it's further confusing existing and future couples. So, right now, I think spirituality is itself a institution. It itself is an industry. So, man, I mean, I don't want to point fingers at anyone. However, this is my 4 points in my 4 decades, my personal experience.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you. I think it's yeah, I agree with you. It's not right to point fingers, because when I'm pointing fingers, one of them is towards you, the other three are towards me, right? And normally that's how it works. And one of them goes upwards. We blame it on somebody else, right? The guy upstairs, right? Or as people call it, God. So no, this show is not about pointing fingers. I agree with you. This show is about doing a very, very careful surgery on the reasons behind things, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with trying to find answers for them. And if for people who just joined us, or people who've ever come to our shows before, I always bring thought leaders to the shows, okay, for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, right? we need to share what these thought leaders have gathered for us and benefit from it. Right? So it's like honeybees. They work hard to create and gather lots of pollens and nectar and whatever, and then they create honey. The result of this Tolu Ekwe's and people like Tolu Ekwe's work is the honey, right? And we are tasting it very easily, and we're enjoying it. We're benefiting from it. So she's gathered that honey in 14 years, and sorry, 14 books ago. So which maybe these books each took longer than 1 year, but more or less. But that's not the point of the discussion. The point is the result of her work has turned into a book, and instead of making your own mistakes, you learn. Right? I could easily go ahead and make a mistake. Yes, who's gonna suffer the consequences? Me. But there's a book for that, so I wouldn't have to make that mistake. I'm gonna make other mistakes. Okay, I'm gonna make mistakes that makes me a better person. Okay, I'm not gonna make mistakes where I'm gonna lose my strategic ally, my partner, my wife, my husband, just because the society is saying so. Right? I'm going to read a book because that book is going to illuminate and shed some light on the matter for me. Okay? So remember, if you can read it in the newspapers, it's not the news. If you can see it on news reports, it's not that new. It's been going on for a while, and it's become so common, they are showing it on television now. Okay? So don't let the television be the source of information for you, because someone has decided for you to think that. That's why they put it in that box. And when you watch it, consider it. It's not the actual decision you have to make. Just because it's on Facebook, it doesn't make it true. Just because it's on the telly, just because it's on the television, it doesn't make it right. Michael, what do you think? From Earth to Michael. I think Michael's
there
not.
I am.
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out how to operate my little machine here. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, what you're actually saying, I actually concur with. I have no issues with respect to what you've identified. There is a big difference with respect to who you get your information from. You need to basically identify the source and actually respect the source and say, okay, it's like going, getting information from, say, someone out there on the street who looks like your aunt, and she comes and tells you a story. That's, very, very bad about your mom. But then now you have to go back to your mom and you tell her the same story. Your mom says, no, don't believe that. Believe this story. Now you've got to ask yourself, who do you actually believe? Who's the one that's got the best interest, your best interest? The one that's got your best interest is the one that you know is going to nurture you and will protect you and put her life and their lives.
But that kid has already been told by. Yeah, sorry for interrupting you, but that kid's already been told your mom's not efficient, your dad is not trustworthy, and you have to get your information from Instagram.
Even though that kid is going to relapse and go to her mom, it's an automatic innate thing. It's kind of like the mom and the dad have to put it in a manner such that the kid can relate to it, understand it, and know the difference. Even if the kid goes to Instagram and takes a look and says, "Oh, look, this is what I saw," but it doesn't have to be necessarily something that the truth. It'll have to be told to her in such a manner that she can understand and disseminate between what is true and what is not true.
Well,
because
Michael,
that's the power you need to give her.
Yeah, should happen. doesn't necessarily mean it will happen, right? So you are a grown adult capable of thinking analytically, but that child, that kid, is not capable of doing so. That makes the job of a parent, the job of the family, the job of the husband and the wife in that family, and the job of that husband and wife as role models, being mothers and dad, mother and a dad, that makes their job very important. That
It
need
does.
analytical. So, but at the same time, the social media and the industries are dismantling the family. So that kid hasn't got that guidance. That kid is going to join the gangs much more easily. That's what the industries want. Some industries want that kid has to want the most recent shoes, the most recent tablet and laptop, and consumerism is instilled into their minds. And at the same time, they don't have the support of their parents. What are they going to do? They're going to steal it, and then they're going
You
to
know
get
what?
thrown.
I give, with the support of their parents, if they get the chance to get the support of their parents, I give that kid the ability, the onus of actually being able to differentiate what's right from wrong and go with the parents, because that kid innately, I'm telling you, that deep down between in their thoughts, they want to believe their parents. They don't want to believe anybody else. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like a it's like a magnet between you and your child, an indivisible magnet. That's what the child wants to go for, and you got to provide that. But if it's not there, yeah, they're gonna fall into that trap.
In terms of the subject matter that we are sharing with you guys, we're talking about Raging Waters, written by Tolu Ekwe. We're showing you some images on the screen as we speak, and then we're gonna the next session we're gonna be talking about which one of these we should choose for the music video of these two tracks that we've created for the book. Raging Waters, written by the great Tolu Ekwe and the great Kingsley Ekwe. The book is available on Amazon, and the advertising campaign that we have been working on is has one purpose, and one purpose alone, is to bring this book to your attention. There are many people who don't know about Raging Waters, but I've brought Tolu to the show. And remember, guys, almost all of your friends, at some point they were strangers, right? So he's the ex-stranger and the current friend, Tolu Ekwe. So Tolu, how do you feel about the subject matter that we've been discussing so far? By the way, Professor Roxana Ezinekwe is congratulating you and Kingsley on the creation of this book as well. So, how are you feeling about the subject matter that we've been discussing so far? And could you please focus on the importance of the book and who needs it predominantly as well? Thank you.
Sorry, my network, I don't know, has been erratic. So I didn't hear a lot of what you said just before you asked the question, but thankfully the question came in. I'm really just amazed at all the perspectives that are coming up. Like, there's a lot more to this, especially when you look at it from the perspective of the people who end up giving in to divorce, because many times we think that's the only option and we just grab it, and then you find that, like Pravika mentioned, a lot of these people are not happy. It's not like it doesn't solve the problem. It's just a different flavor. It's just a different position, right? So that's something that we need to really look at. Now, who should get the book? I think that one of the things that while Michael was talking and the parts I heard of what he was saying, what was going on in my mind is so many people go into marriage without preparing for it. We take marriage for granted. I mean, it looks really easy when you're watching your parents do it. Like it's this thing that you just do. When you get to this age, you'll just kind of know what to do and you'll just do it. So we just get to this age and we pick the next guy or the next girl, the one we think makes sense at this point in our lives. And like I think it was Michael or someone mentioned, we're going to keep growing. So we're going to keep, we know ourselves, say get married at age 21 or at age 25. Up to that point, you've experienced, you don't have a clue how you're going to be at age 30. You don't know what your opinion, your perspectives, how your outlook on life is going to change down the road. So you're making this commitment and you don't know that you down the line is going to be able to stick with the commitment or is going to agree with the choice you've made at this point. So there's so much of all that. But there's the fact that both of you are growing and your commitment is not, I'm committing to you at age 25, but I have no idea what's going to happen at age 30. Your commitment is, hey, no matter what happens down the line, we're going to figure it out together. So it's a big deal. It's not something you make on a whim after a few drinks and, a bit tipsy. Like, oh, you look like, oh, I think we should get married. And then the hangover is over. You're like, oh my God, what did I just get myself into? No, it's not that kind of decision at all.
I think Rachel and Ross did that in Friends.
Right. Exactly. It is so not, that is not what marriage is at all. That cannot hold, it's a big deal. It's a big decision. So I think people who are thinking of marriage, in fact, I think it was Michael too, or someone else that had mentioned that maybe even in schools, people should read these kinds of books, because what it does is helps you look at this idea of marriage differently from what you may be thinking or assuming just by observing your parents or listening to whatever filters through the social media handles that you're connected with. People need to read about marriage and think about marriage and understand it and ask questions. What is even this marriage? Why marriage? What does it mean? What does it not mean? What am I expected to do in marriage and why? And I like to talk about, for me, my understanding of marriage is deep. I like that Pravika mentioned, I hope I'm saying your name right, Pravika, right? Okay, thank you. I love that you mentioned God, because I find that it's easy to throw God out, right? In fact, it's very, nowadays, it's very polite to not even say God, the person upstairs, whatever you believe in, we don't want to offend anybody. By the way, I'm not thinking that this not offending anybody thing is helping us that much, because we're avoiding avoiding it so much. But sometimes you need someone who loves you is going to offend you by, telling you in your face that, hey, you've got to stop this thing. Your mother is going to offend you when she knows that you're getting lost, that you're missing it, you're going to get in harm's way. She's going to offend you. She's going to stand in your way, even if it offends you in that moment, because she's thinking in the long run, I love you and I don't want you to get hurt. So I'm really not thinking that offending people, is the worst thing that you can do. We're avoiding talking about faith, avoiding talking about God, avoiding talking about anything that makes people uncomfortable. And how well have we helped ourselves? How good is that working out for us? Okay, so we are not saying anything we shouldn't say. Okay, so somebody's jumping off a cliff, about to jump off. Now, in that moment, what's offensive is to try to disrupt their moves. Don't offend them. Just let them do what makes them feel good. But they're going to die. So I think there's something fundamentally wrong with all of that, and we need to find a way to retrace our steps. let's talk about the truth. The way it's possible that somebody else has a different experience. Now, when it comes to faith, I'm going to say this.
Let me interject one moment.
Sorry, please. Let me just finish my thought.
Okay,
Michael.
go ahead.
Yeah. So when it comes to this matter of faith, right? I think that we don't. In many ways, we don't know. When I say we don't know, I mean faith is not science. It's not something I can show you. 1 + 1 is 2. It's not. That's not what faith is. I can tell you stuff that I've read in a book. I am of the Christian faith and I believe in the Bible. Another person is of a different faith and believes in a different book, etc. We can talk about what we've read. We can talk about what we've heard. But I like to talk about what I've experienced. What I've experienced of God, nobody can take that away from me. I can tell you that I read something in a book, and you can argue whether it's even historically correct. You can argue whether this person was real or imaginary, but you can't tell me that what I have experienced is a lie. And that, for me, is why I believe what I believe. It's the things I have experienced. I know myself, I'm stubborn by nature. I can argue. I like to win. That's not the material for a marriage. I'm married for 21 years. You think I could do that by myself? No, I would have argued myself into a divorce big time, over and over again. I needed help, okay? And I got it because somebody had to help me to figure out how to navigate a space where arguing is not going to do it. Who's going to help me to hold back? My mom is gone, the one person who may have been able to talk some sense into my head. But then somebody is able to whisper to me and say, no, don't say that, no. And then 2 sentences down the line, I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't say it. Oh my God, if I had said it, look what would have happened, because I can't rule God out on many levels. We can talk about that on another day. But I think that God is important, and we need to start thinking, wait, we threw him out at this point. This has been our journey so far. Let's compare that with when we did not throw him out. Maybe we should revisit these things. I think that's something we should look at. Thank you.
Absolutely. Just for those of us who think the thoughts and the doctrines may be forced. No, they're not being forced. They're just being expressed. And because there's a difference between expressing something and forcing it. So I just wanted to say, in this show, we respect both groups, agnostics and people who don't believe in God, and also people who are religious. Okay, I respect both groups equally. And tomorrow, I'll have an atheist on the program. The day after, I'll have a religious person. It's a free world. Okay, so if someone wants to believe in God, it's a free world. And if I don't really mind the concept of God being discussed, and because today's show is about Tolu's book, Tolu is free to express her views, and Tolu is expressing her views, and but just for the sake of balance, by the way, it's okay to say that the basis of your belief, because at the end of the day, the beliefs are the things that we can't see, but we know in the heart of our hearts. We know. So, as an example, if they tell me, where is Tolu? I'm not going to say, Tolu, I believe Tolu is on my show. No, I don't need to believe that. I can see Tolu is here. Okay, so and I know it for a fact. So if they ask me, do you know your parents? No, I don't need to. Yes, I know my parents. I know who my parents are. I don't need to believe that they are my parents. I know they are my parents. So we believe when we don't know. And that's why that word was invented in English language. Okay, so believe. So every word carries a certain type of weight with it, right? So, and there are two views in terms of the concept of God. some people think God created man, and some people think man created God. So there are both sides. There are two sides to the same story, right? And just for the sake of clarity, I respect both sides. Okay, and my job is to hear both sides and promote both sides. Okay, at the end of the day, the world is going to carry on. Yeah, the world is going to carry on as it is, and as a species, we're going to carry on existing as long as we don't cause some sort of life kind of ending experiments, such as atomic bombs and whatever. We're gonna carry on living as we have. Okay, so the life existed before we believing in God or not believing in God, and it's going to carry on. And I don't think if there is a God, I don't think he or she minds us believing in him or her or not, because he or she has created something massive and fantastic. So, and if I was that big, I would try not to be arrogant, and I would try to be even bigger instead of being arrogant, and I wouldn't punish anyone for not believing in me. And at the same time, I would also be kind to my fans and followers. Okay, and I wouldn't mind them following other concepts and other sources of creation. So again, back to the main point. When you come to my show, please feel free. Please do not hold back. Express your opinions. Okay, and Zara is saying love is much stronger than face. Well, Zara, that depends on the person. Okay, and Esther is saying we are individual with choices. Yeah, absolutely. We are individual with choices, and the world that we are living in now is very, very different to the world that we lived in yesterday. That's how fast we are changing, right? And no matter what, that's my advice to you guys. Every single one of you, every single one of us, need to upskill. Whatever you know, please upskill and learn more. That's why I'm promoting Tolu's book, because so why is it that we are promoting, and why does it that whisperboy.com believes in a book like this? Just to be clear, I am agnostic myself. Okay, I don't believe in God, but sometimes you have to use your head and find out who's written the best book in that category, and go ahead and read it and learn from it. That person, I don't care if my plumber is a believer or non-believer. That plumber is going to make sure I have hot water when I want to take a shower, right? So I separate art from artist. So for me, the work is what really matters. Okay, and I don't care the person who created the plaster to dress and cover my wound. If they've been believers or non-believers, I don't care. I'm going to use that product, and that product is going to protect the wound and that stop it from getting infected. Okay, so yeah, so the point of these shows that we have created is that we are being impartial, and we are respectful towards everyone. It's not that we are avoiding a subject so other people don't get offended. No, I don't mind that. When I'm offending people, I offend them equally. Okay, so when I'm so and by the way, people choose to be.
Thank you. Please keep offending people. It's okay. No, really. I think for me, I love the comments I'm getting. Beautiful.
Yeah, when you question the status quo, in order to make an omelet, you've got to break a few eggs, right? So you have to question the status quo. What do you think, Tolu?
I completely agree. I think I love the feedback. I love it means we're thinking about it. It means we're talking.
Absolutely.
It means
We are
we're free to have our
thought-provoking.
different, right. We have our different perspectives. We have our different experiences. And every one of them is valid. I believe that. So I believe what is wrong, what I think is the worst thing that's happening right now is telling people that if you say a certain thing, it's offensive, don't say it. Don't say this, don't say that. Don't say this, don't say that. And then, so only what certain people want said is being said. And that's not the full story. We've always had the freedom to see the different options and choose. And I think that, like Cyrus says that if he was God, he would want to be big, he would be big, and he would be this. I think so. I think that if there is a God, right? Let's go with that. If there is a God, he should be big enough to accommodate the questions, to accommodate the doubts and the wonder and the everything. I think so. But I think what is not okay is to say, no, don't talk about that. No, don't talk about. And then, yes, we can talk about some other things.
That is thought policing. We don't do that here. No, it's not. That is thought policing. So we don't do that thought policing thing, because why? So if I'm stopping you from saying something, right, that means I am walking away from logic, and I'm walking towards a tyrannical kind of point of view. I am becoming a tyrant in what I'm doing, right? So this is a platform where we are advertising and we are promoting being centered, okay? Not too much to the left, not too much to the right, and using logic, because before, during, and after us becoming believers or non-believers, logic existed. It does exist and will exist, right? So at the same time, I can't see this whole thing, this universe, and not think. I can't help but think, oh, there is some form of glue holding it all together. Some people call it nature. So some people call it rules of physics, right? Some people call it some people call it, some people call it he, some people call it she. But have you noticed that we all call it something? We know there's something there. So there's something that we can't see, but it does exist, right? So the main thing is to question the things you know, just to make sure that belief hasn't been spoon-fed to you, or hasn't been instilled into you since childhood. Most of the things that you know are the things you've been told. Some of it you have arrived at that conclusion yourself, but most of it is childhood stuff and what the media and the schools have taught you, and which is a very dangerous thing if that's your only source of knowledge. If what you know is what you've been told, you need to question a lot of it. As an example, in some societies, it is believed that a woman's position is just to be outside the house and work, and the man's position is to stay home and take care of the children. And some might agree with that. Some families and some species, penguins, do that. Men stay with the egg, and the woman goes hunting. The female goes hunting. So on the other side of it, on the flip side of it, some people think no, the woman should stay home, and the husband should be the hunter-gatherer and go and earn a living and whatever. But how about we don't gender assign everything? Yeah. How about we don't mix concepts together, right? I can talk about divorce with some religious examples if the religious serves the concept. The concept is to hold that family together, hold the husband and wife together. And also I can be agnostic and also use logic and hold that family together. Okay, the point is to hold that family together, and the point is to get them to have a discussion instead of an argument. Okay, and by the way, just because I don't agree with you, it doesn't make us enemies. That's another thing that we need to focus on, and these shows that we are creating, we are focusing on this. Our opinions, and also ourselves, we can exist at the same time. Look at this. Look at this screen. Michael, Tolu, me, and Parvika, and people in the live as well, in the chat. Everyone's expressing their views. None of us died. None of us got angry. We're still alive, healthy, a little bit older, nearly 3 hours older. But we exchanged ideas, and we became more experienced, more complete. Okay, because we are so we are born, we die, and that's how life works. Okay, life is one of those troubles nobody's come out of alive, right? So so we all gonna get to the final destination, right? And but are we gonna leave the world a little bit better than we found it? That's the question. So in the process of our lives, we need to ask ourselves, what happens if we don't believe in God? What happens if believe in God? What happens if we are nice to people? What happens if we are not nice to other people? Life is going to move on. Life is going to continue, right? But things will be better, and the suffering would be less. Our job is to reduce other people's suffering altogether, because life is suffering. And if you make it your mission to reduce suffering, just like Tolu has done, you can use religion, but make suffering less. I'll have that. I'll pay for that, right? You can use atheism and reduce suffering. I'll have that. I'll pay for that. Okay. Whatever your personal beliefs are, please always remember, your personal beliefs are yours. They're like your own toothbrush. Please don't force me to use your toothbrush. Okay. And conversely, I promise not to force you to use mine. Okay. So use your own toothbrush. I use my own, and we both have clean teeth. And when we smile, these beautiful pearls shine. Okay. And then we will be both happy, right? So now if I stay in a relationship, Tolu, this question's for you, and this is going to be the last question. If I stay in a relationship because of children, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Very difficult question, guys. Very difficult question. Let's see how the author of Raging Waters will handle this question. And before you start, Tolu, I'm gonna show a little bit more of the images we're going to put in the music video as well. Please go ahead, Tolu.
Yeah, good question. Very good question. And, for a lot of, I think I was in a conversation recently, and we were talking about whether divorce is more rampant now, whether marriages are no longer as stable as they used to be, suggesting that contemporary marriages are no longer stable. Something has gone wrong, right? But we also know that in the old days, when society favored marriage, when society was tailored towards, was more pro-marriage than anti-marriage, people stayed many times just because of the children. Things were bad, but they would stay just because of the children. Was that good enough for the children? Did the children know that their marriages were that bad, that their parents' marriages were so bad, but that they were the only reason why they were staying? I think many times, yes, the children know this. They recognize it for what it is. It's very hard to pretend with your family. They would see it, they would feel it, they will sense it. They will know that things are bad. So does it even offer them the stability that they're looking for? That their parents hate each other's guts, that they would rather be anywhere else but here, but the only reason why they're staying is because of the children. So these are questions to ask, right? And in some cases, the answer is yes, because maybe things are not so bad between the couple, and somehow they can make the sacrifice, and maybe it's a temporary thing, right? Maybe things are bad for now, but after a while, things will get better. Sometimes this happens. You would find like there are couples that are dealing with maybe some financial difficulty. They're going through a rough patch in their relationship. And you know, finances affect a lot of things in the family dynamics. It can just create a lot of stress and tension, and that may be a temporary thing. Now, would it be wise to get a divorce because of a financial problem? Probably not, because this is something you guys can figure out and work through, and it won't always be this bad. So the relationship is fundamentally okay, but we're going through this tough patch. Now, you have another couple that nothing is working out, and they're not even willing to do the work. Just staying because of the children and not doing anything about fixing the relationship. I don't think it's helpful to the children. So what I'm saying is, if you want to stay because of the children, then fix it because of the children. Don't leave it damaged and rubbish, like Paulette likes to say, and not fix the relationship. You need to fix the relationship. So if the children are worth staying for, then they're worth fixing it for, is what I'm saying. Don't use a damaged relationship to try and just tide the children over. It sometimes can be worse than actually having a divorce. That's
absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. If it's worth fixing, fix it. However, you need to find out why it broke. And if you don't find out why it broke, you will never ever fix it. Right? Sometimes it's a very small thing. And for a while, my computer stopped working, and I took it to someone to fix it, and it was a small screw that was supposed to be holding one of the parts, and that screw had been loosened and had been lost. I don't know how. And there was this part that wasn't being held in place, and that was the problem. And then that made me think, a small screw, and for like a couple of weeks it wasn't even working, and then I realized sometimes a small screw, something very small, just screws you over. Excuse the turn of phrase, but it is what it is. Yeah, you gotta resolve that issue, and if that marriage is not working for you, just try to find out if it's working for the other person, and if it is, why is it that it's working for them and it's not working for you? Then you will find a few answers. Okay, good. For this reason, that reason, and that reason. Now you write that down. Okay, this is the reason why the other person is enjoying it. Okay, that's why they stayed with me. Now I don't want to stay with them anymore. Now you write down why, and then you list the reasons, right? And by the way, when you started living with that person as a spouse, as a husband or wife, were you thinking the same? Were you this transactional? Were you thinking transactionally? Well, if that was the case, well, there's something wrong with you. Congratulations, you already found the root cause. You are the problem. But if you are being mistreated, as an example, if you're not attracted to that person anymore, or you need to find out if they are attracted to you, is it just your view or is it their view as well? Okay, so the point is, when you're looking for the problem, you will find the answers. How realistic are you to accept them? I don't know, but don't let it until the last moment. I'm not sure if you watched the Titanic. I'm sure there were moments that I think his name was Mr. Smith, if I'm not mistaken. There are moments that the captain of the Titanic wanted to stop the problem and turn back time, and that's not going to happen until we create a time machine, which won't happen, by the way. Time is a linear thing. We just go forward. It's not possible to go backwards. Unless you are the Iranian government, it's not possible to go backward and live a backward life. It's always forward. You always live a forward life. Like, you always go forward. You can't go backward. I mean, you shouldn't. So you should ask questions, and you should be curious. And just because you have problems, it doesn't mean you have to stay with those problems. Also, you shouldn't run away as soon as there's a problem, right? It's a partnership. You are stronger with your partner, right? Earlier, we talked about the fact that some of the industries dismantled marriage because they wanted to have access to each person in that family separately, right? Children, we bombard them with advertising. Eat takeaway, eat takeout, yeah? Eat high in sugar and high in sodium foods. So we want to bombard the woman with indoctrinating the women in a different way, and men also. The industries want you to be alone. Majority of them, not all of them, of course. Majority of them, they want you to feel alone, and they want you to be lonely. If you're not lonely, how do you think the big pharmaceutical industries are going to sell their drugs? Legally prescribed, the medications, right? How do you think they're going to sell the medications? In every country's health system, there is a pattern, and that pattern is the focus is always on the pills. When you go to the doctors, what's the first thing they're going to tell you? Don't worry, we got a pill for that. So I had a digestive issue and a digestive system issue, and I went to the doctors 10-15 times, I don't know. In none of those meetings, meetings with the doctors or the nurses, they never told me go on such and such diet. They don't tell you what not to do. They don't tell you even what to do. They just tell you what. There's a medication for that. Did you get your medication? Have you still got enough? Do you want me to re-prescribe that? Right? And when I asked my doctor for repeat blood tests, they said, no, we do blood tests once a year. But I'm going to put you on this medication that has a lot of side effects, which I'm not going to explain to you about. And I don't recommend you Googling it either. They didn't say that in those exact way. But I asked them, what if I do the tests myself? Because most of the problems that I'm experiencing, it might be due to the vitamins that I'm not getting. I might be low on something. Predominantly wisdom, but anyway, I might be low on. I might be low on something. Aren't you going to do the test? I'm going to do that personally and like privately. And he said to me, "No, don't go to those companies. They're going to find something. They're going to write to you that there's something such and such thing low, in terms, so they can continue keeping you as a customer." I was like, "But you're not fixing me either. The health system is keeping me alive. They don't want me to healthy. They want me alive. So I go back to them with further prescriptions, further medications, right? So guys, please try to stay healthy, because your health system doesn't want you healthy. That's funny, isn't it? That's the way life works, right? It makes doctors happy to have patients. Otherwise, they feel useless. It makes the police system happy when they catch a criminal. They justify their existence, right? And it makes the plumbers happy when your boiler goes bust. It doesn't matter if it costs you $1,000. So they're all nice people, but they have to somehow earn a living, right? So keep your health, keep your boiler functioning mode. Go to the gym. Yeah, go to the gym and stay healthy. And every once in a while, have your vitals checked. I don't know, blood pressure, or whatever, and stay on top of things before they turn into problems. That's my recommendation to you guys, because generally speaking, in life, things become much harder when they turn into problems. Okay, fix the problem, fix things before they turn into problems. Right, stay on top of things. So we've been together in this session for over 3 hours. It's been fantastic. I'd like to thank all of my friends who joined our show, and people in the chat, especially Natalie Thomas. Thank you so much for your dedication and the constant help that you provided to the show. Thank you so much. And Zara, Esther, and many other people who actually came to the show and left as well. Roxana, and those of you who were shy and never wrote anything, Lisa as well, thank you. Please don't be shy when you come to the show. Crystal as well. Please don't be shy. Ask your question, please. I'm bringing these experts to the show, so for your benefit, right? And in the meantime, yes, I am promoting the books and the podcasts, and again, for your benefit as well and for theirs. Esther is asking, is it is it over 3 hours? Yes, it's been 3 hours and some 3 hours and 15 minutes. I didn't feel the passage of time because I've been enjoying myself. So any final words, Pravika, before I finish the show with the final comments of Tolu? Please go ahead, Pravika.
You know how much I spoke, yes, and I feel like putting together something for the both of you. I mean, I'm going to create 3 things. One for the book with both of you, and another separate PPT for each of you. Oh, yes, I think I would like to share this with you. I've been quite a B word when it comes to work. Yes, as a publicist, when I've worked with people, either I've not liked the people, the person, so the work wouldn't work out, or the person would be really lovely. However, I wouldn't be too good with the product. Yes, and it seems like from a few days, I'm finding both the work and the person I'm able to really relate to. And my work is like my baby, and I didn't want to give my baby to anyone and everyone. I would much rather be broke than, you know, not feel good about giving my baby. Brainchild, they say, yes, it's my baby. So now I feel like whatever I've collected, the people, the ideas, everything, I feel like I'm feeling very grateful because what can I do with all this that I have? I really want to promote your book. And as a musician, I'm telling you, there is so much music out there. I would like for Cyrus's music to overpower that. Really, it would make people make better decisions and choices. And yeah, thank you for having me. It's been wonderful. And I don't know if you guys know, I don't think you know, but I've had a lot of questions sorry, Cyrus, but I've had a lot of questions for God. And it seems like uh, the universe is using you guys, and I'm so happy to know you guys. I'm getting a lot of clarity, and I, please let me send you some of my ideas and thoughts. Please use me. Please use me. I'm amazing at some things. Please use me for anything. Yes. Thank you. Cyrus.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, it would be a pleasure to get you involved in the show, and your views are always welcome, and every I'm so sorry, Tolu. I think, yeah, 2 minutes ago, one of our viewers is saying, I missed what Tolu said. Tolu, please repeat what you said earlier. So they want you to repeat what you said earlier. You're on mute, Tolu.
I'm sorry. Okay, repeat what I said earlier about what? Sorry, I missed that.
So your closing, the comments before Pravika's comments, they are asking, I am very sorry, Esther, but it is a little bit difficult to expect people to go back on our comments. And if you miss them, please do not worry. The show is being recorded, and
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to go back. And now we're gonna play the track we created for Raging Waters one last time, and then I will go to closing comments. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. We created this video for Raging Waters by Tolu Ekwe. Enjoy.
When it feels like it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic, the sinking ship is your relationship. Like you're the captain of the Titanic, When hurt, fear, and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal. When you can no longer fix it, and when the struggle feels too real. Gift raging waters to your sons. Gift this book to your daughters. Teach them to save their marriage in life's bad times and raging waters. Help them navigate when the current is strong. Guide them back when it all feels wrong. Before hearts sink and their ship runs aground, let raging waters bring love back around. Let raging waters bring love back around. When raging waters bring love back around. Whisperboard Podcast.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Michael, thank you so much for joining the show again. Any closing comments, Michael? We're going to bring the show to an end. Michael, you are on mute, my friend.
Yeah. I had to make sure I turned down the music. Yeah. Tolu has written an excellent book, and we had an excellent conversation here regarding and direction that we think that it's going. And I believe that she is going to really work on this, and I think it's going to be around 2, maybe even around 3, and even around 4 before she's done. Because this is the subject that she is actually tackling. It's very complicated, and it's a very emotional thing. Now we're talking about emotion. Now we're talking about things that I didn't even understand before I even met Tolu. She started talking about having emotional intelligence. What are you talking about, Tolu? Emotional intelligence? What is that? Oh, she kind of explained it. That she walked me through the different things that I needed to know and understand about, some relationships. You need to have emotional intelligence, and that's it's quite amazing that she brought that out and said, "How?" I was thinking to myself, how long has she known about this? I didn't know anything about this. So how come I didn't grow up where she grew up? No idea. But it so happens that she's got on a book and a subject matter that is dear to her heart and that she is very intelligent about. And I believe that we all are seeking to understand us as a human race, and where we're going, where we're ultimately going to be going, because we'll need that book in order to survive. Like you said, like you said, what do you call it, Cyrus? That it's either one way or it's full extinction for the human race. Eh, I don't like the full extinction part of it, so I think I'll follow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michael. You are a valuable member of our community, and thank you for your fantastic contribution. The same thing applies to you, Pravika. You are new, and you have a, 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 a brilliant and nice way of putting things, and unique to yourself, of course. I understand you have gone through a lot of difficulty, and I have received your messages as well, and I gave you a 10-point solution as well. You've read that, and I hope that helps you with your journey as well. And please remember, you can't stop your life, and you can't not live your life just because somebody has an opinion, right? So well, they are full of opinions. You are full of life. Who wins? You win. Tolu, thank you so much for the fantastic book that you've written, and I'll never stop promoting this fantastic book because it's worthy of being promoted. For the ladies and gentlemen who just joined the show, thank you so much for doing that. I apologize, we have to bring the show to an end, but the good thing is I'm happy to let you know that we will see you in the next one. So the this phenomenal book, Raging Waters, is available on Amazon, and it is a phenomenal book. It's quite strong, and it is as strong as the Raging Waters you can see in the background. Is quite potent, and is quite strong. And if you know someone who is in the process of taking a divorce, and you feel like, oh no, that's a shame, they are so good together and they love each other, perhaps you need to gift them this book, because you could be the person who saves their marriage. Sometimes we help people without telling them we are helping them, right? And that's the strongest type of help. You never know. Somebody might be in desperate need of reading this book. It's Christmas time nearly. And I hope you are in a generous mood. Buy yourself a copy of the book and buy it for someone else as well, somebody who needs it more than you do. Or perhaps read it and then gift it to someone. But gift it to your sons, gift it to your daughters, just like the song was saying. Perhaps they need to know it, right? And it helps to know a few techniques of safe driving, and it helps to learn those safe driving techniques before accidents. And it's more helpful if you learn them before accidents than not after. Even after the accidents, you can still learn how to drive safely, but it's better if you do it before a terrible accident, and before a terrible divorce. Perhaps you could learn how to resolve the issues that you are experiencing, your husband or your wife is experiencing. Sometimes the way we talk to each other could be a little bit better. And I know people who would get sacked from their job if they talk to their boss the way they talk to their husband or to their wife. Right? So sometimes maybe thinking, what if this person was my boss? Would I speak to them like that? What if it was somebody I'm scared of? Would I speak to them like that? Sometimes we do things because we can get away with them. Those are the things that breaks down the marriage, right? You sat on the goddamn chair. Stop cutting the legs off the chair. You're gonna fall eventually. You're stood or sitting on a chair. Cutting the legs off the chair is not a good solution and not a good strategy, right? Is the chair wobbly? You don't like it anymore? It's fine. Before you replace it, try to find out if it's not you who's being wobbly and it's the chair? Right? Especially if you're brave enough after a couple of drinks, then you're the wobbly one, not the chair. Right? I'm sure you're getting my analogy. It's a very terrible one, but it's still an analogy nonetheless. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Tolu, you've been phenomenal, and Pravika, you are fantastic. And I'm just Cyrus. That's it. So, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you, and we'll definitely see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.
When it feels like it's too late to save your ship, and all you feel is sheer panic, the sinking ship is your relationship, like you're the captain of the Titanic. When hurt, fear, and rage are all that you feel, and your broken heart cannot heal, when you can no longer fix it, and when the struggle feels too real, gift raging waters to your sons, gift this book to your daughters, teach them to save their marriage in life's bad times and raging waters. Help them navigate when the current is strong, guide them back when it all feels wrong. Before hearts sink and their ship runs aground, let raging waters bring love back around. Let raging waters bring love back around.
I wish you guys a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening. And don't forget to carry on fighting for what matters to you. And speaking of what matters, you guys matter to me. I wish you a lovely evening or morning or afternoon. Take care.